you say that. Welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for round number 22 of 38, and only 7 races until the playoffs begin. We are at the Magic Mile for the first and only trip up here to the New England states, and I'm joined in the booth as always with Chris Speer. And Chris, this is a crucial race. It's a flat track, it's a unique track, and we still have 4 spots open in the playoffs. Can somebody get a win tonight that we're not expecting, like we saw yesterday in the real race? Yes, it does. And let's get straight into it. We got qualifying going on right now, but let's take a look at those point standings. Bobby Terrell leading the group. Now, all those drivers you see in gray, they are drivers that are officially locked in unless something massive changes in the next couple weeks. Any driver that's in the top 16 right now, Dean Doucette and above, all those drivers in gray locked in. Jeff Chandler and Tim Bills tentatively locked in, if you will. Those guys still just above that top 25 spot, and they need to remain there in order to keep that position guaranteed. And then you look back further, we got Brody Hanna, who also has some wins in 29th place in points. And again tonight we have a large field of let's see here, 44 drivers if I'm counting this correctly. So that means again some drivers are going to likely could go home again this week. And Chris, you look at this race to the playoffs. New Hampshire is not a playoff track anymore, but this is still a crucial venue for these drivers in preparation for the playoffs. Exactly right. And we got qualifying going on right now. So let's take a look at those drivers that are going around the track. We don't actually have a driver on the track currently right now, if you can believe that. But several drivers still have not taken the time. But we take a look at the qualifying time. Tim Bills on top with a 29.27. And then we have Brian Helm right behind him with a 29.33. Greg Holt just completed his lap. And we're still looking to see if anybody else is going to take a chance out here. Gil Gock. So 38, 39, 40. Yeah, it looks like we actually have 43 drivers. So it looks like everybody will make the field tonight here at New Hampshire, the Magic Mile. Gotcha, Chris. And we're getting a little bit of some popping from your mic there, Chris. I don't know what's happening there, but let's look at the rest of these field here as we continue on. Let's take a look at the race information here, and we take a look as I've lost that information. There it is. There we go. And we'll take a look at the weather right now. 82 degrees, 97 track temp. This track not very high altitude. We don't ever talk about that, but it is a 1.0 33 mile track. So it is a pretty small track, not quite a short track, but it is cloudy with winds out of the southwest here tonight. So very racy conditions for these drivers. These drivers are going to go through their warm-up, and yes, that is correct. All the drivers, if I'm not mistaken here, have made the event tonight. So that means that all drivers will be racing tonight, which is always good. Never like to send anybody home, but I tell you what, Chris, this is going to be a fun race, and we're going to hear from a driver here in a second that's won 2 out of the 3 races FTSR's ran here. We got Sherwood Williford. Sherwood, this is Jared and Chris up in the booth. You got a copy on us? Sherwood, you're coming into this race on the outside of the playoffs looking in, but you have been the most dominant driver here at the Magic Mile. Are you excited about racing here tonight, and what can we expect from that 33 team? For sure, and it's a large field here tonight. But is this a race that you have circled on your calendar? You know, maybe put a lot of stock into this race. You've won 2 out of the 3 races that FTSR has ran here. You've led the second amount of most amount of laps, leading at least 50 in every race. Pretty incredible numbers. The best average finish of 1.63, and your worst is a 3rd place, man. I mean, you've got this place figured out. Well, sure, we wish you the best of luck, and I'm going to turn the mic over to you, let you give out any shout-outs you got before the race begins, and good luck to you tonight. Well, there you have it, and that's Sherwood Williford, who has been very good here. And as we are ticking down warm-up, we're going to go ahead and get the national anthem underway here as performed by Alyssa Shipman.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome back to the Magic Mile here in New Hampshire, and for the 22nd race of the year. And we're just finishing up warm-ups here tonight, about 30 seconds until the race goes. Chris, this is going to be a tough race. What can we expect here at the Magic Mile tonight? You talked a little bit about in the pre-race, but now we have all these drivers, 43 drivers, a large field here tonight, and a lot of drivers that, and we talked about Sherwood Williford. He's a driver outside the playoff hunt, has an opportunity to run good at a track that he's dominated and been so good at. Sure is, and we have the starting lineup as the drivers are getting themselves gridded. Tim Bills, a driver that has got 1 win on the season, looking to extend his point lead over 25th position. He's on the pole tonight with a 29.271. Brian Helm from Bandit Racing, just a little bit off, 0.06 of a second. He'll start alongside. Row number 2 will be Richie Coy and Jeff Chandler. Row number 3 will be Bobby Terrell, the point leader, and Rachel Hunt, last week's winner. Row number 4 will be Greg Holt and Dean Doucette. And rounding out your top 10 tonight, Chris, is going to be Brody Hanna and Bernard Person. And we look down the rest of the lineup here. Give me 1 second here.
And it looks like in row 11 will be Mark Figueroa and Wayne Grossi. Behind them, Donnie Stobbits and Bill Benedict III. Starting in 25th tonight, Kevin Rupert, and 26th will be Jeff Winter. Dale Nearad and Kenneth Schultz will be behind them in 27th and 28th. 29th, Sherwood Williford and Jeff Bratton in 30th. 31st, Tony Solari. 32nd will be Andrew Poliski. 33, Troy Torgerson. Adam Newton in 34. 35, Stephen Vrooman. 36, Jason Speer. And behind them, Troy Torgerson and, James Torrey in 37, 38, Joe Flanagan, 39, Gil Gawk, 40th is going to be Casey McMullen, Randy McKinney in 41st, 42nd, Tracy Powers, and rounding out the field here tonight, Chad Lang in 43rd.
Well, there you go. Chris getting it all in there. Apologies for the technical difficulties there, but we had them all sorted out now. And sometimes that happens. And looks like I think we got him on there now. And we appreciate everybody in the chat and everybody letting us know we were having some issues on the broadcast there. But we're about ready to go green, and we got Tim Bills and Brian Helm, another driver that hasn't won. We got Greg Holt, who has won, but he's outside the playoffs, and Brody Hanna in the top 10 as well. They could try to push their way into the playoffs, but a driver that we didn't expect to have tonight, Chris, is Jeff Chandler, but he has made it tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these guys as they're going around here. This is a tight track, Jared, and a lot of these guys, they're going to try to do whatever they can to make up points here early on.
Brady Hanna with that penalty. I believe he's going to have to drop to the end of the longest line here, and he has done that as the pace car makes his way off of turn number 3, and we're about ready to get the New Hampshire 200 underway here, the New Hampshire 150 underway here at FTSR, and green flag is out.
Great start there by Tim Bills in that 77 machine as he's easily able to clear Brian Helm in the 26 on the outside.
Going through the turns, everybody stacking out there, 2 and 3 wide back behind him. Tim Bills leading. He's got pressure from behind. Richie Coy looking underneath Brian Helm for second. Everybody else fanning out. We got somebody way down. That's James Torrey on the back straightaway.
Tim Bills is easily going to lead the first lap here. Right behind him, though, Richie Coy was able to get around Brian Helm for second, and now looking to get closer to the bumper of that number 77.
First lap in the books here, and we have got a dandy of a race already. Tim Bills leading the way, and we got somebody down low again. That looks like the not sure who that was, but they have got themselves straightened out. But these drivers looked a little bit loose in practice, Chris, but it looks like things are a little bit different when they actually get out on the track and start going, because these guys look very much in control, but it's only 3 laps in. Tim Bills leading the way right now. Richie Coy in second, Brian Helm third, but you look at some of these drivers that haven't won yet. 8th place is Mike Watts moving up through the field already, up 3 spots, our big mover early in the race.
Yeah, he has done a pretty good job of staying clean, and as a few drivers elected to back on up and kind of find themselves after getting loose coming out of 2, Jared. That's what helped him, was able to make up those positions. Behind him, TJ Bartel up 5 positions in 15th.
We'll look back there, both on the same team, both on Wayne Grossi Racing, and there's TJ Bartel in the number 88, that kind of old school smoke paint scheme that he ran when he was in the Busch Series back in the late 90s. He is up 5 positions as well. We look at Wayne Grossi, the team owner. He's up 4 positions, and we got Jeff Winter back in 22nd position for Frontline Esports. He is up 4 positions. So those guys, all your big movers, and don't count out right now our 2-time winner out of 3 races, Sherwood Williford, already making some moves, up 4 spots here tonight, Chris.
He certainly is. He talked about how he enjoyed this track, thought it was similar to Martinsville. He's certainly right with the amount of braking that these cars are required from in these corners. It gives a lot of opportunity to be able to overbrake or dive farther into the corner than your opponents here. This track is a great track for side-by-side racing here. lots of different multi-grooves, and it is going to be shown here tonight for sure.
And there we go. Everybody's single file, and I want to bring up, we usually don't bring this up except at small tracks, but look at where these guys are. The leader is already about a half a lap ahead of 43rd position right now already. About 3/4 of a lap, or sorry, I guess a little less than half of a lap is what I should say. So already 7 laps in the race, and you're already half a lap down, Chris. Does that go into any of your consideration of how you're driving this race, how you're attacking this race? Guys like James Torrey, and it looks like Gil Gock actually did not make the grid here. He is listed as in the garage, and not good for Gil Gock, but James Torrey back in 40 seconds. We jumped on board that number 2 machine.
Absolutely, Jared. You mentioned how you drive the track here. If it changes whether or not you're farther back in the field, of course it is. You're going to be a little bit more aggressive because you know the leader is already just that much closer behind you, and you know that you could lose that lap. Losing a lap here doesn't mean that it's going to be the end of your race, but it's certainly going to make it more difficult, as we are soon to have a battle for the lead up here, as Richie Coy has caught Tim Bills in the 77.
And these guys have raced and done short track racing in real life. Richie Coy runs the NEMA Sprints, and if you're not familiar with it, they kind of look like a USAC sprint car that you see on dirt, except they run on paved short ovals. So he is very good at these type of tracks. And then you have Brian Helm, also who is a crew chief for some drivers out in the ARCA Menards West Series and some of the past late model divisions out west. Mostly through Idaho, Colorado, Utah, and things like that. So we got some racers up front, Chris, and some of these guys have actually raced on this track, and they're showing what they got here tonight, like Richie Coy.
Certainly, that's going to be something to build off of here. This is one of those tracks, Jared, that you really have to have a rhythm here, just because of the amount of braking that you have to do. And really, if you can get some pressure on the driver in front of you, it makes it all that much harder for them to be able to continue that rhythm if they're busy looking in the mirror.
You look out the back of 10 Bills. We got Brian Helm. He is one of the few drivers, Chris. He's running up in that black up in the turns. He's really arcing the corners out wide. And you look down into the corner. Richie Coy running a very lower line, and Brian Helm way up the racetrack. Jeff Chandler running right around the yellow. And so is Rachel Hunt. Bobby Terrell running like a middle groove. So even though New Hampshire, like you said, it's a flat track, there is some banking. It's an 8-degree progressive banking track, and these guys already finding some ways around it already.
And certainly one thing to note, Jared, running the lower lines here is a little bit more abusive to those tires, which is going to play into this if we get a long run, which at the moment seems like is very possible.
Jump on board Richie Coy looking ahead. He's just kind of monitoring that gap, Chris. It's been about a half a second. We saw this a lot last week between Jeff Chandler and a couple other drivers, just kind of monitoring that gap, trying to get a little bit what they got there and not use their stuff up early in the race. But right now, these top 2 drivers are pulling out. We got somebody way up the track. That was Rachel Hunt really using the high side as Bobby Terrell is going to look underneath her. That's a battle for 5th place.
It certainly is. Rachel just got into that corner a little bit hot, Jared, and because of that, you see exactly what happened. The 5 underneath easily going to be able to pull out in front of her coming out of the corner here and bring with him Greg Holt in the 32.
Greg Holt's won a few races this year, as he has won 2 races actually, but is not playoff eligible in that number 32 machine, and he is looking underneath Rachel Hunt. Behind him is Mike Watts, and the only other winner in New Hampshire is Dean Doucette. He has led the most laps, a little bit more than Sherwood, I think 53 more than Sherwood Williford, and has the second best active average finish in the race here tonight, as he is looking ahead at Mike Watts. He's got Bernard Person right behind him as well, Chris. That's a battle in the back half of the top 10.
It certainly is, and Bernard Person is trying to catch up to Dean Doucette. Dean lost 1 spot early on here and just trying to maintain that position. He seems to be a little bit tight coming off of the corner here, and I think that's actually going to end up helping him in the short run, but possibly could hurt him in the long run, as Mike Watts is now looking underneath Rachel Hunt in the 51.
Mike Watts underneath there, and our top 12 have all kind of broken away right now. So this little group, there's 3rd and 4th that are kind of in their group, and 1st and 2nd that are kind of in a group. But otherwise, we've got something, I don't know if anything has happened, but Randy McCanney has just dropped a few spots, and he is still going, so he must have just got up the racetrack. But going back to that battle up front, Chris, the top 12 kind of establishing themselves. There's a 3-second gap between Lane Allen and the two Grossi drivers of Bartel and Wayne Grossi.
Yeah, these guys have really broken away the top 12 here, Jared. And that's interesting to look, because at this point now, the leader can pretty much see a car down on the same straightaway as some Bills. So you know that you can see the leader coming. It's going to start getting dicey for those drivers in the back real soon, Jared.
And you bring up the track map one more time here. As you may have heard, my dog's alerting me to a delivery that just got dropped off there. But Tim Bills, you look at it, I mean, he is about, you're talking about, what, 750 feet, 1,000 feet from starting into lap traffic here. I would say in the next 10 laps or so, he'll be on the back of this field.
He certainly will, and that's going to make drivers a little bit more unsteady for the rest of the race, just because you already see the pace that is being put down by that number 77 machine, as we have almost 3 wide action right here behind Rachel Hunt with Dean Doucette, Mike Watts, and Bernard Persson.
Dean Doucette going to get around Mike Watts. He's done messing around. He's got his teammate of Rachel Hunt right in front of him, who was able to hold off the charge by Mike Watts. And Bernard Person's going to look in here. We got Kurt Davidson on the back half, and Lane Allen sitting there watching on this battle as well. Good battling inside the top 10 already tonight.
It certainly is, and man, these guys are really getting up on it, Jared. They'd want to get up there and get into at least the top 5. You could definitely see it out of Dean Doucette as he is trying to make up a lot of ground. He's back up to where he started this race. He's got his eyes set on Rachel Hunt now.
There's the battle for 7th. Hunt, Doucette, Watts, Persson, Davidson. And you see right behind him, Persson looking underneath Davidson, and Davidson's working that high side pretty well right now, Chris. I mean, I love this track. I mean, the race on Sunday in real life was a very good race, and I think we're getting a very similar looking race that we had then as well, just able to use all the racetrack and try to make your moves. But as these guys battle, that's allowing TJ Bartel and Wayne Grossi, along with Ralph Nolan Jr., to start catching up to the back of this pack.
And that's exactly what those drivers need, Jared, as they are able to make up a little bit of time on Lane Allen and Kurt Davidson. TJ Bartel sees them up there battling side by side. He's going to go a little bit harder into these corners, knowing that he might be able to make up some time.
Yeah, that's a really good point. As you look up front, and Tim Bills, has started to open up that gap just a little bit to 0.7 of a second on Richie Coy. I mean, it's not a lot. And Jeff Chandler has got around Brian Helm at the same time that was going on. So move Jeff Chandler up 1 spot, started 4th, now up to 3rd place in that number 31.
Yeah, in practice, Jared, Jeff Chandler had some of the fastest laps, both 5 and 10 lap runs. He had a little bit faster pace than a couple of drivers in front of him. Now that we're getting into these longer runs, that might be helping that 31 machine. As looking back through the pack, Dean Doucette got incredibly sideways coming out of 2, able to gather it up and still able to get around Rachel Hunt.
Dean Doucette now 7.5 seconds behind, so he needed to make quick work of this group. And Rachel Hunt's got Bernard Persson all over her back bumper in that number 51. The most recent winners right here in this picture in Rachel Hunt and Bernard Persson. Mike Watts in that battle, and like we said earlier, Chris, that they were battling hard, and all of a sudden TJ Bartel, Wayne Grossi, Ralph Nolan Jr. have all started to catch up to the back bumper of this group.
Yeah, I think this all stems from the 51. I think Rachel's a little bit tight in the corners. It's making her a little bit slower off. And these guys, as they're trying to battle around her, that's just slowing them all down, because the 51 is able to get a little bit better run out of the corner. And you're going to have to drive in a little bit deep, like you can see Bernard Persson doing here, but just not able to get into the throttle quick enough to get around her.
Bernard Persson still out there. A couple weeks ago, or I think it was last week actually, still has the same paint scheme, supporting the little girl that's battling some childhood cancer, and I've gotten news that her condition has actually gotten worse, so our thoughts and prayers out there for that little girl battling cancer, and it's so heartbreaking, but Bernard Persson putting on a great performance for her. As you see, Rachel Hunt way up the racetrack, getting a run there, and we've got a whole group of a battle now, Chris.
We certainly do, and you can actually see as these drivers are working around Rachel, just a difference in driving styles here. Mike Watts is driving deep into the center of the corner, trying to get around her and using that to get off the corner and slip right up in front of Rachel. Not able to do it as she's able to get into the throttle a little bit harder on that outside.
Jumping on board Lane Allen. He's just watching here. But our person was able to clear Rachel Hunt. Now he's all over the back of Dean Doucette. Mike Watts is going to make the move on Rachel Hunt. Now move him up position. So Rachel Hunt a little bit falling back here. Lane Allen just kind of holding steady. And Lane Allen, last time we were here, was a top 5 car all race long. It was involved in an accident coming off turn 4 there when he lost the rear end and hit the inside wall and was in position to win that race. So we know Lane Allen can get around this track very well, but he has got his hands full. He's got Kurt Davidson on his bumper as well.
Yeah, Kurt's been with him for the better part of 5 laps, just right there on the bumper of Lane Allen, and just kind of riding behind him, waiting for Allen to be able to make this pass on Hunt in the 51. Just going to try to follow him through the corner. That 41 and 14 both trying to make their way up into the top 5.
And you see there on the battle box in the bottom right that already Jeff Winter, our biggest gainer of the race, has started to catch up to the back of this group as well. So you can see just how much clean air is important, even with this low downforce package. These guys battling like this has allowed Jeff Winter to close right up on the back bumper of it. TJ Bartell looking on the outside of Kurt Davidson. TJ needs a lot of help. He's got to win in the bank, but he would need a lot of help to make the top 25 in points. And the way you start that is by having some good runs. And he is all over. He's kind of boxed in by Rachel Hunt and Kurt Davidson as Lane Allen gets around Rachel Hunt while we were talking about this action behind there.
Certainly, and up front, Jared, Tim Bills starting to catch the first of many lap traffic to come as he is closed all the way up to Casey McMullen in that 37th position. Tim Bills is really going to be battling through some lap traffic. That'll be give Richie Coy an opportunity to try to make up a little bit of time on Tim Bills, our leader, and he has Jeff Chandler all over his back bumper.
Jeff Chandler has caught Richie Coy, and now the Martinsville winner has the 3-time winner on his back bumper here. And these guys don't look now. Bobby Terrell is also kind of gaining on these guys. Jeff Chandler's going to look underneath going off turn number 2.
Richie Coy got a little bit loose coming off the corner there, Jared, and as he did, he had to let off of the throttle. That presented the opportunity for the 31 to get under, and that was the easy way around at this track for him.
Richie Coy dropping the spot. It's early in the race, no need to really press the issue there. And Jeff Chandler moves into second place as he's going to start hunting down Tim Bills. Now your top 4 have won a race. Technically your top 5 have won a race. And the driver that's kind of slid backwards is Brian Helm. He has dropped to 6th place right now, but still in a good position. 7th place is Bernard Person. He has gotten around Dean Doucette. And the gaggle is way there. I mean, there are 7 cars in this group of battling. Actually, 9 cars in this battle as Jeff Winter looks underneath Ralph Nolan for 15th.
Yeah, these guys are definitely battling hard back here, Jared. It is incredible to see the transition that these cars and drivers have already made as far as the handling on them. A couple of them are wicked loose now coming out of the corner. Dean Doucette almost looks like he's burned the right rear off of that car. Wow. As he's sideways almost every lap coming out of the corner. He
was very sideways coming off turn 4 there. And looks like Jeff Winter's going to have to settle in line there. But these guys battling hard. This is allowing Bernard Person to kind of scoot away. Mike Watts is now, Dean Doucette very loose off turn 2. Holds on to it. Mike Watts had to kind of check out. And now Watts going to look on the inside. Doucette moves high as that 29 car, the handling is starting to go away. His teammate Lane Allen and TJ Bartell are all there as well. And we got 3 wide behind him, I believe. And Rachel Hunt pulls out of that one.
Too early in the race to be that risky, and Rachel Hunt understood it and recognized it and let those guys get around her. The safest thing to do at this point, Jared, it's only lap 34 of 150. There's still time to get back up there and contend for the win.
Some great action. We look further back. TJ Bartell knocking on the door of the top 10. Dean Doucette very high, trying to find some grip. Any grip will do, and he's just not finding it right now. Does find a little bit coming off the corner. Wayne Grossi there as well. Jeff Winter has moved around Rachel Hunt. Is Rachel Hunt continuing to drop back? We look at some of the other drivers. Donnie Staubitz, a New Englander. He has ran modifieds at this track. He is up 6 positions into 17th position. John Held, solid qualifying effort. He is down 3 positions, however. Darren Bruce in 19th, having a great run. Just down 1 position, and Rory Collins in the top 20. We don't talk a lot about Rory. He hasn't made some races. He's been part-time most of the year and having a great run. But he's got Dale Nearat and Sherwood Williford. Has now moved himself up 7 spots, and we got another gaggle back here on the back half of the top 20, Chris. Williford looking underneath Dale Nearat for a battle for 21st position.
Yeah, these guys are doing everything they can just to get through here as quickly as possible, because right behind them, not too far back, is our leader, and he's catching the tail end of the field, so it's going to get real interesting real quick if you're these guys back here.
Yeah, it is, and that's 22nd for sure with Williford. We also got Troy Torgerson, Bill Benedict, Kevin Rupert. These are playoff drivers. Troy Torgerson has that win at Darlington earlier this year, Chris, so he doesn't really have to worry too much about points. But Kevin Rupert, Bill Benedict, they're not safe by any means on the stretch of the imagination there. So they are having a race that they are needing to do a little bit with. Right behind them, Adam Newton, also running the same paint scheme as Bernard Person in honor of that little girl with cancer. He's in 27th, up 7 positions. Kenneth Schultz, 28th and 28th. And then Gary Griffith in 29th. He is also on the fringe of, oh, we got some contact. A driver disappeared. It's Randy McCanny. He disappeared on the screen, and that's going to bring out yellow. We were just on Gary Griffith, and the 27 car just appeared right on top of the 12 car, and that will bring out our first caution 38 laps into the race. We'll see Gary coming into the corner here, Chris, and Randy McCanny is behind him, and then all of a sudden Randy McCanny isn't there anymore, and he just phantomly hit, unfortunately. And you hate to see a technical issue bring out a caution like that.
Yeah, that's a heartbreak for that number 12 machine. Wasn't having a bad run, and then all of a sudden it looked like a ghost just hit him, and then the 6 reappeared, Jared. Tough moment for those drivers. Neither one of them are going to be happy after that one.
Yeah, that's a tough break, and it's one of those unfortunate things about sim racing. The connection can be a factor. Jeff Bratton will be the lucky dog. McCanny and Griffith will lose a lap because of that, and also join Casey Mullen, who is a lap down. But Chris, pit stops ensuing. Everybody down on pit road. Everybody.
Absolutely, everyone wants those fresh tires, Jared. Interesting thing here was seeing all the different drivers here. I mean, we know tire fall off here is incredibly important. Tim Bills gets that first stall. We'll have to watch to see if he's able to lead them off of pit road.
Tim Bills there at the end of the box. And it's going to be Jeff is that Jeff Winter that made it off pit road? No, it's Jeff Chandler. What a pit stop by Jeff Chandler. I think he took fuel only or 2 tires, Chris, because he took an 8.73 second pit stop time, and he is going to be first off pit road, followed by Tim Bills. Bobby Terrell will be 3rd. Greg Holt, Richie Coy with a slow stop in 5th. Brian Helms 6th. Mike Watts, Lane Allen, Dean Doucette, TJ Bartel, your top 10.
Wow, what an incredible strategy here by Jeff Chandler. That's just not something I would have saw coming here. It'd be interesting to see how it works out, because everyone behind them is going to have fresh tires, Jared.
They are, and that's insane. I would not have guessed that would be a strategy call already in this race. As you look at Casey McMullen, he's got damage on the rear end. Now, Chris, I did not see or hear anything that happened with Casey McMullen at all. I was looking through the listing and not sure if he got loose or got hit or what happened. But Casey McMullen's looks like he's gonna take the wave around here.
Yeah, certainly trying to get back on the lead lap. Jared, we talked about it. Jeff Chandler, he took no tires, fuel only.
That is a crazy decision here at New Hampshire. And maybe Jeff Chandler, I mean, he puts in a lot of laps, puts in a lot of time. And what a strategy move, because he only moves up 1 spot. I mean, it's not like you're going from 20th to 1st. You went from 2nd to 1st. I don't know how I feel about that move, and it looks like Jeff Chandler doesn't either. He's coming back on pit road.
One thing that could have happened, Jared, is he deselected those tires when he was going out there, just in the event that there was a wreck. Didn't want to burn through one of those set of tires if he had to come in to fix damage, and that may be why he did not end up taking any tires, just forgot to turn them back on as he's making his way down pit road. He'll get them this time for sure.
But that's going to drop him all the way back to 39th position, as Chasey Powers and Casey Mullen, they'll get the wave around. Jeff Bratton was our lucky dog. Wayne Grossi has elected to come on pit road as well from 15th position. May have not gotten his tires either. So Jeff Chandler, he's going to come out here all the way back there, Chris. That is a huge disadvantage for him, as we're about ready to go back to green.
Certainly is. Now at this point, he's going to have to make the decision of how hard he's going to race those guys, because he's not been that far back down in the pack today. So he's going to figure out real quick if he's going to race these guys hard to try to get up here or not.
So we got Bills, Terrell, Holt, Coy, Helm, and Watts, your top five, as we are about ready to go back to green. Flagman with the green flag in the air, and we are back underway at the Magic Mile.
Once again, Tim Bills gets a great restart here as he's able to pull in front of the 5, and Greg Holt now side by side with the 5 car, trying to get that second position coming out of the corner.
Greg Holt trying to make a move here. Everybody else doing a great job through the back half of the field. Everybody on the gas right now. 2 wide, 3 wide. Grossi and Chandler. We got to see what those guys are going to do way back in the deep part of the pack. Tim Bills will lead it. Bobby Terrell fighting back on Greg Holt on the outside. He's going to take over the second position. Richie Coy looking on the high side.
This track has so many different options and ways to get around here. Greg Holt struggling on the bottom to get around, gets a little bit loose coming out of the corner. I think both the 5 and the number 19 are going to get around him now. Now he's going to have Brian Helm on the outside as well.
Helm, Mike Watts there right behind him, Lane Allen. And you look, and you know, this caution has been a big advantage for some of these guys. Lane Allen was very quick on the last run. Mike Watts is quick. TJ Bartell, Jeff Winter. These guys now have a chance to regroup, and they're not too far off the front. It's kind of a good reset 1/3 of the way through the race here tonight.
It certainly is, but right now everyone is trailing Tim Bills, who's now got about an 0.8 of a lead over the number 5 of Bobby Terrell, and he's got the 19 of Richie Coy all over his bumper, Jared.
Richie Coy and Bobby Terrell, they have battled a lot, especially in the Xfinity Series, where they're going toe-to-toe in their championship in that full throttle sim racing series that they have. And no different here in the Cup Series. Richie Coy 3rd in points, Bobby Terrell 1st in points, and Richie Coy looking all over the back of the 5.
We got a little bit of 3 wide back there with where Jeff Chandler is, just directly in front of him. It is an incredible race going on. You would think these guys are battling for the win.
Wayne Grossi and Joe Flanagan leaning on each other. Poliski on the outside. Chandler's going to go up on the outside. He's electing, he says, you know what, that's, no, I'm not going to do that. Jeff Chandler tucks back in line. But Chris, he has moved up just 1 position since the start of the race. And it's how difficult is it when you have a car that's capable of winning, and now you're back here in the 37th position. This isn't the Cup Series like it is in real life, where there's really about 25 good drivers. There are 43 good drivers, and all of them can really give you the stick on it. And Jeff Chandler finding that out right now is Randy McCanny loose off the corner behind him, holds on to it.
Yeah, looking at it, he's now got some damage to the front end of that number 31 machine, as Joe Flanagan had to check up for Wayne Grossi into the corner, and Jeff Chandler just could not slow down fast enough. Not too bad of damage, Jared, but still certainly something to keep an eye on for the rest of the race.
You look out the back and you see just a little bit. I mean, it's I doubt it's going to hurt too much, but Jeff Chandler trying to work there underneath there. And this, folks, we were talking about a driver that is back in 38th position on a pit mistake, we only have to assume right now. Wayne Grossi also the same situation. He has moved up just a little bit. He's up to 34th on the back of Steven Vrooman and James Torrey right now. But back up front, where the battle is, it's between Bobby Terrell and Richie Coy, and everybody's chasing those 2 drivers as Tim Bills has started to open up what would be his second biggest lead of the race so far.
Certainly is. This battle for second, though, Jared, is with more than just Bobby Terrell and Richie Coy. Greg Holt right behind them, watching these two, kind of waiting for one of them to make a mistake so he can get around both.
Bobby Terrell looking there. We look at some other drivers. TJ Bartell has moved up 11 spots into ninth. He's working on Dean Doucette. Jeff Winter up 15 spots into 11th place. Dale Nearad up 14 spots into 13th place. Donnie Staubitz 9th. Sherwood Williford, two-time winner, 13 spots. So we've had some drivers get some gains because of those pit stops. Chad Lang, our biggest gainer, though, he's up 17 spots, started dead last on the field, and he has moved up. Brody Hanna actually started dead last because of the EOL situation he had there, and he is up to 24th position right now. As Jason Speer has spun it off the corner, we stay green. Take a quick glance at this. So he's working with Rory Collins here. This is a battle for about 21st position at the time. And he's got Tony Solari and Josh Mayu there as well. And, oh, he just gets a little bit loose underneath the bottom. Oh, he hits the inside guardrail, but nobody's behind him, so we stay green.
And up front, Bobby Terrell is still having to fend off the charging Richie Coy in the 19. Coy can get underneath the Bobby Terrell, but not able to really clear him. He's going to look again going into 3. A little bit of a block there by Terrell in that number 5.
Well, Chris, how much? I mean, so Bobby Terrell is pretty much, unless he misses some races, and he'd have to miss at least. He's got a 2-race lead on second place as it is, and Richie Coy's third place, only 1 point behind that. How much do you fight for this at this point in time when you pretty much are really just looking for wins, and really the points don't really matter at this point in time?
Well, Jared, at this point, it's about still getting the best finish that you possibly can. There's still several races left before we get to that playoff bubble. You never know what can happen, and we've got a couple wild cards in there too. With I believe it is Daytona there right at the end, or sorry, not Daytona, I think it's Talladega, that it's going to make this even that more interesting and challenging for these guys. So they want to get ahead in points as much as they possibly can. No one's going to give over and let someone go, and that's what we're seeing out of this 5-car.
That's true, and it is Daytona. Talladega is in the playoffs. Daytona is the playoff, the last round before the playoffs. And Richie Coy looking on the inside now. He's got a run on the bottom of the track. Now, don't forget, folks, it's hard to notice on the cameras, but the bottom of this track is about 2 degrees of banking. It is very flat, and then it goes up to 4 degrees and up to 9 degrees at the top. So it's a very progressive type track. And Richie Coy got down there, got a little bit of grip down there, but just couldn't get the run off. Bobby Terrell kind of trying to side draft there as Richie Coy gets an inside move into turn 3, Chris.
He certainly does. He's going to overdrive the corner in hopes of sliding up in front of number 5. He's going to clear him coming out of 4. Now Greg Holt will look to do the same in the coming laps.
So Coy back to second. He was the second or third best driver on that last run. Speaking of some drivers moving through the pack, Wayne Grossi now up to 30th, and he's brought Jeff Chandler along with him, 31st. So these two drivers that had to come back in and give up a lot of track position have been trying to fight their way through this gaggle of cars. We got Tony Solari, Kevin Rupert, Josh Mayu, Rory Collins, all in this battle right in front of them. And these guys are doing everything they can because some of these drivers trying to get in the top 25 points to lock themselves in next year. Some of these guys trying to get in the top 25 points because they have a win. I mean, there's a lot of different agendas here.
There certainly is, and these guys are battling pretty heavily back here with that. There's a whole gaggle of cars with Wayne Grossi, Tony Solari, Roy Collins, Josh Mayhew, Jeff Chandler. They're really battling out 3 wide almost every lap.
I thought Jeff Chandler was going to stick it in there, Chris, and he elected against it, and he's doing patient. I mean, he's being as patient as he can. There's not much he can do. And you see Kenneth Schultz almost get in the back end of, James Torrey almost get in the back end of Kenneth Schultz. I'll get it right one time. And those 2 Pennzoil cars battling side by side, Solari and Grossi. And my goodness, Chris, when you're Jeff Chandler, Wayne Grossi, you're up in the top 10 before that caution, and something happened on the pit stops. We can only assume a mistake or something. How do you temper your aggression coming through these drivers like that, knowing that Tim Bills is only about a half a lap behind you right now?
Well, at that point, Jared, you're really out here. You just got to get back into your rhythm, because what you did on the track was good enough to get you up into that second position to begin with. So you just got to hope that you've still got that same mentality and the same car underneath you, so that you can drive your way back up through there. But it's certainly frustrating as you're doing everything you can. And Chandler, he's not really looking all that patient.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is Chandler's not able to run his line that he wants to run, and making it look a little bit worse than maybe it is. Solari way up the racetrack trying to find some grip. He's going to find it though, and these guys back here have no reason to pull over for these guys, as Chandler's trying to be patient with Wayne Grossi, but Wayne Grossi just not making that move as we jump on board the 31 car, and you look ahead of him. I mean, there's battles. You got Bill Benedict battling with looks like Kevin Rupert in there as well, Darren Bruce, Chad Lang, Brody Hanna, and these guys are all fighting for their playoff lives just in front of these guys.
They certainly are, and there's no reason for them to pull over and let these guys go. They don't want to be back there battling for that 25th position in points. They want to be battling up for the top 16. They want to do whatever they possibly can to make up these points. Every single position here is so critical to these guys back there close to that cutoff line.
Yeah, Bill Benedict right now in 14th position, but he's only 10 points ahead of Chad Lang for the final playoff position. Andrew Poliski has the final playoff position. He is 3 points ahead of Chad Lang. You see Wayne Grossi looking underneath Kevin Rupert. He's another driver on the bubble of the playoffs in 18th in points. Not having the great night for any of these drivers back through here, and they need all the points they can get and hold on to those. And right now, it is finding it very difficult for Grossi and Chandler to work their way through this field. Back up front, Tim Bills has opened up the gap to 1.5 seconds over Richie Coy. Bobby Terrell fended off the threat from Greg Holt. He remains in third position. Holt in 4th, Helm in 5th, Lane Allen in 6th, and they've lapped Casey McMullen again. So that 71 car, even though we did not get any indications that he was in a wreck, is down on power or something happened to that 71 machine, and he is having a tough night for the 5th place in points drive.
Certainly is. He's going to have to limp his way back across here.
We got it's
caution, Jared.
A wreck right there where Wayne Grossi and Jeff Chandler were. It's Kevin Rupert in the 1 machine and trying to find him on the track. There he is. He's going to get out just ahead of the pace car there, but I don't see any damage. Maybe he just got loose. Let's take a look here. And oh boy, let's take a look here. And Wayne Grossi was underneath of him, but Chad Lang's on the outside. 2x2, Jeff Chandler. Oh, Jeff Chandler might have gotten in the back of him there. And I don't know how anybody didn't hit that car. Wow.
Wow, that's incredible driving by the rest of this field back there to get around there. Kevin Rupert there. Really unfortunate area of the track too. It's very tight there, and it looks like we're going to have a lot of takers here on pit road, Jared.
It does appear the 31 just got in there. I heard the brakes lock up on the 31 machine, and it looks like he does get in the back of Kevin Rupert. Rupert did stay on the lead lap, and luckily nobody hit him. I had the same exact thing happen to me in the Truck Series race, except that was a downshift problem. I didn't have any help with that, although I wish I did. And everybody is on pit road right now. Tim Bills had a healthy gap coming on the pits.
And it looks like he's going to be beat off of pit road, Jared, by Adam Newton.
So Adam Newton did not pit, actually. So he is, if he was on pit road, he missed his pit stop. If he did not pit, he just didn't pit.
Yeah, he did not go into his pit stall at all, just drove through the pits, Jared. That's what put him up to that first position.
So Adam
and
Newton,
now he's going to come on to pit road.
There's Randy McCanney, who's still having some massive connection issues in that machine. And there is Adam Newton. Jason Speer on pit road with some damage, trying to get that fixed. But right now, Gary Griffith looks like he is going to try to take the wave around as well.
Well, Jared, we're going to stack them back up and go racing here again. Looked like we'll be going racing on lap 69. These guys, they've already shown throughout through the field tonight how aggressive they were going to be to try to get up into these better positions. But up front, Tim Bills has kind of been pretty dominant thus far.
Tim Bills has. He's led every lap so far. He started on the pole, and he also has the best lap of the race. So Grand Chelem is in his reach at this point in time. But you look at some of these other drivers, Chris, they're hungry. Richie Coy and Bobby Terrell were giving it all, and I think now Richie Coy's got Bobby Terrell cleared, I should say. I wouldn't be surprised that a 19 driver can get something done here.
I wouldn't be surprised. The hard problem is he's going to be on the outside of Tim Bills. Bills has had incredible starts here so far tonight, already and easily clearing that outside lane going into the corner. So it's going to be really hard for that 19. He's going to end up having to hold off number 5 going through that first couple of corners until they get that sorted out.
Exactly right. We're about to see what's going to happen here as Gary Griffith will get that wave round, get him back on the lead lap.
One thing to note, Jeff Chandler did have some damage, ended up electing to pit to get it fixed. He's going to restart in 34th position, Jared.
Ooh, that's a deep ways back, but he was only in 30th at the time. But right now, it is Richie Coy and Tim Bills. They'll lead us down to the green flag here on lap 68 going to 69. Terrell and Holt, Helm, and Allen, your top 6. Person, Winter, Watts, Bartel, as the green flag is back out here at the Magic Mile.
That it is, and Tim Bills, another good restart there. Not quite as good as the one before, as he's still got Richie Coy on their outside. They're basically 8 wheels around this track, Jared.
Richie Coy is looking for an opportunity here. Side by side down the back straightaway. Richie Coy edging out just a little bit on Tim Bills. What will Tim Bills do in turn 3 and 4?
Coy will have the advantage coming out of the corner here. He's trying to pinch the 77 down onto the apron as hard as possible. He's going to take the lead. He's going to lead a lap.
Unbelievable move by the 19 machine of Richie Coy as he takes over the top position here. And Tim Bills coming back for him. So the Grand Chelem is over for Tim Bills as Richie Coy has at least grabbed one light. Oh, we got Mike Watts down loose off turn number 2 there. He is going to get that car situated.
Gathers it up nicely and doesn't collect anyone after getting sideways there. Great job by all of those drivers, giving him the room to catch that car.
He'll lose about 4 positions there as Ralph Nolan Jr. goes around the outside, Dean Doucette as well. And now he's got Donnie Staubitz and Kurt Davidson on the back bumper. Chris, we're about halfway through this race. Now, we think that these drivers can make it almost from here at this point in time, but it's still going to be very close as it's around 79 to 89 laps on, or sorry, 80 to 90 laps, I should say, on fuel. We got 3 wide back here. Mike Watts in the middle, Doucette in the low side, and Rachel Hunt, who backs out of the corner. Actually, Dean Doucette backs out of the corner. He's dropping back.
Yeah, Dean got a little bit loose coming out of the corner there, and as he did, he had to get out of it. Rachel Hunt able to make the move. Now Donnie Staubitz as well.
Staubitz around Dean Doucette. Dean Doucette looks like he's got that thing a little bit yawed out a little bit here as the battling continues all through the field. 2 by 2 from basically 15th on back, single file in front of him.
But for the first time all night, they're not chasing the 77. They're chasing the 19 of Richie Coy. Tim Bills not letting him get away, though. He is still right there, only 2/10 behind your leader.
Yeah, the second win for Tim Bills could really help his playoff cause because he's not going to get in the top 10 in points where all the bonus points are if you don't have wins. Richie Coy is in the top 10 in points. He's in the top 5 in points, and another win would definitely solidify his playoff opportunities with another 3 bonus points for that position. And right now he has got a little bit of a lead, a quarter of a second right now over over Tim Bills, and then Bobby Terrell just sitting right behind. Everybody else is kind of settled in inside the top 5, inside the top 10. Back around Sherwood Williford, Darren Bruce in front of him, Troy Torgerson, who continues to move forward. These guys battling hard as Dean Doucette continues to drop back in that number 29 car. Chris, he is had to have made an adjustment on that 29 car. It's just continuing to go backwards.
It certainly is. He may have adjusted for these long green flag runs and maybe adjusted the wrong way, making that car just a little bit more loose than he originally intended. That certainly seems to be hurting him at the moment. Earlier in the race, though, Jared, we talked about the number 5 car and not letting the 19 around and trying to hold him off. Well, now we see why. Richie Coy now has made it up to the lead. He knows that those playoff points are within grasp if Richie Coy can win this race. He didn't want to see that happen. That's why he was blocking the 19 so hard early on.
Exactly, because once the playoffs start, the point leader gets a 10 bonus points, and then it's 1 point all the way down to 10th, who gets 1 point. So right now, Bobby Terrell with 10 bonus points plus a win, so that's 13. Richie Coy with 8 bonus points plus a win, which is 11. Another win for Richie Coy will put him at the top of the battle right now. As we got a yellow flag on the track, Rory Collins is around. And he was in a thick of a battle with Jeff Chandler, Kenneth Schultz, and a few other drivers. Let's see what happened here to the 62 machine. Oh no, he gets hit by the 31 again, almost holds on to it, and then overcorrects, and it looks like possibly Adam Newton gets hit from behind. Jeff Bratton, heavy damage on that number 62 as well, but Rory Collins nearly had that saved.
He almost did, and unfortunately did not get it saved before turning that thing, overcorrecting a little bit, and just a heartbreak for those drivers back there.
See if we can get another view of this wreck, because it was a big one from our spotter cam. So there's Jeff Chandler, just gets in there and gets back on the gas a little bit sooner than the 62. 62 almost had it saved, and I think, you know, he was wiggling, and I think the 53 might have got into him, and Jeff Bratton nowhere to go, and the sitting 62 right there when the smoke cleared.
A little bit of action on pit road as Brody Hanna is going to lead them onto pit road. Behind him, Josh Mayhew, Dean Doucette, and Jeff Chandler, Adam Newton, and Joe Flanagan have all elected to pit here.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised about Dean Doucette. He did not look like he was having a very enjoyable time in that number 29 machine. So that's going to leave 28 drivers that did not pit. So Hanna, Chandler, Doucette, Mayhew, Gary Griffith, Joe Flanagan, Lang, Bratton, Poliski, Newton, McMullen, all on pit road. We have 3 drivers lapped down or in the garage: Collins, Speer, and Randy McCanney. And McCanney's actually going by to get the lucky dog. That'll put him back on the lead lap here tonight.
And the caution is a break for Gary Griffith, as he had taken the wave around that last caution. Didn't have to worry about getting lapped by the leaders. He's able to maintain that position. Stays now. He will end up being pretty much the last car on the lead lap, Jared. But at this point, he's on the same tire strategy as a lot of different drivers. A little bit fresher tires, trying to make his way back up into contention here tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that's going to be huge, because you look at the point standings, and we'll bring that up right now as we are under this caution. Coming into the race here tonight, Gary Griffith in 20th place. So you look at these drivers on the cut line, Wayne Grossi, Brian Helm, Bill Benedict. Those guys are all right there on the cusp of being eliminated from the playoffs. They're in the top 16 in points, but Brian Helm holds that last spot. He's 13th in points. He's running in 6th place, Chris. And you got Bill Benedict all the way back in 23rd position, Andrew Poliski in 38th, Chad Lang in 35th. I mean, it's not looking good for some of those guys right now tonight.
It's certainly not, but for Gary Griffith, that's going to help him a lot. He was 37th before the caution came out with older tires. Now 31st with fresh tires. He's going to be, looks like the 4th car in line there with fresh tires.
Yeah, and Gary Griffith there, as you see, he is right now 20th in or 21st in points right now. So he is on the outside of that cut line. But there's a 10-point gap between Brian Helm and Kevin Rupert. And don't forget Casey Mullen also in this group battle too. I mean, he's got at least a 1 race lead. But Chris, you know, right now running 42nd here tonight. So not exactly having the race he's wanted. So we have 80 laps in the books here. 70 to go. Richie Coy leading. He's elected the outside line, Chris. Thinks he could get it done on the 77, powered on the outside.
Yeah, that outside groove worked that last restart there. Now he's going to have the opportunity to choose that lane. He elects to go to the outside there. He's going to try to do it again on the 77, but Jared, that Tim Bills on that inside was really strong early on.
Green flag back out. Richie Coy with a good start, but Tim Bills just right there with the ball. Contact between the leaders. Tim Bills into the side. Coy back into it, wrecking in front. Oh my goodness. Greg Holt's involved.
That was incredible, and not in a good way, Jared. These guys battling hard up front, just a little bit too hard into that corner.
I don't know what to say about this accident. We'll just let the video do the talking here. Oh, Lane Allen, heavy contact. Greg Holt, heavy contact. Tim Bills has got to be livid, and so does Richie Coy, because both those drivers, in the heat of the moment, Chris, they both think the other driver is probably at fault.
Absolutely they do, Jared, but this one is just too hard to call here. They made contact before even getting into the corner. That's kind of what threw them completely off guard here, and I think that's really what set up the incident between them.
I'm waiting for the scoring to update here, but Greg Holt is shown as the leader, but that car does have some damage on the right front of that machine. And we're trying to figure out, yes, he is shown as the race leader, but he has missed the opportunity to come into the pits. So I would venture to say he's probably going to come in with heavy damage on that 32 machine. But Bobby Terrell was the driver that was able to sneak through this thing, and all of a sudden, Chris, this race has changed dramatically.
It certainly has, as now we're going to have a couple of different guys up front here. That's not the way you want to get the lead, but certainly not going to complain about it.
Yeah, I have to say that Richie Coy and Tim Bills are both very mild-mannered drivers. And that was not anything but mild-mannered, but that's what the playoffs do, as Brian Helm and Greg Holt are coming down. I did not see Brian Helm get any damage on that, Chris, but he is elected to come in. That's going to move Bernard Person into second place right now. And Jason Speer, the lucky dog, moving on the outside.
Sorry, Jared, I'm still going back through and looking at that wreck. Man, Greg Holt had a ton of damage on that 32 machine as he really plowed hard into the left front of Tim Bills.
And Tim Bills with a lot of damage. He's been on pit road for quite some time. Richie Coy is on pit road as well with significant damage in that number 19 car, although he didn't get as much. I think most of the damage from Greg Holt was the wall and then the chain reaction from the 14, also trying to find a hole through there. So tough break for Lane Allen as well. But all of a sudden, our top 10 has changed up dramatically. So we got Bobby Terrell in first, Person second. Jeff Winter has made his way to third with Dale Nearad behind him. TJ Bartel in fifth, Kurt Davidson sixth, Ralph Nolan, Hunt, Watts, and Torgerson in your top 10 now.
Well, now we're going to have a couple of different guys up here. Bobby Terrell, Bernard Person going to be on the front row, Jared. These two just witnessed what happened between the first two drivers, and now they're in the same position. These two going to have probably played a little bit more careful going into turn one than what we just saw.
I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that would happen the last restart, Chris, but I don't think it's going to happen on this restart. But, I don't know what's going to happen on this restart.
Yeah, I certainly don't either. The last one kind of threw us both for a loop here. Now we're going to go green with 86 laps in the books here. And now, I mean, this is just, it's going to be a crazy race between these guys up front.
Yes, it is. So Terrell and Bernard Person are point leader in fourth place in points, leading the way, followed by Dale Nearad and Jeff Winter. Pace car is off, green flag is in the air, and we are back to racing here at the Magic Mile.
That we are, and they're still going to be side by side going into one. Terrell not able to clear Bernard Person on the outside. Person going to have a little bit of advantage coming out of the corner here. We'll see if he can make that outside lane work.
Bernard Person, he led his first laps of the year at Road America since Daytona, the season opening race where he led one lap. He'd like to lead some more. Carr shoves it down into turn 3, Chris. He's got the run on the outside.
He certainly does, but Bobby Terrell on the inside, and that number 5 machine going to try to do everything he can. Not going to matter. Bernard Persson leads the lap.
Bernard Persson will lead that lap. Dale Nearad sticks into 3rd. Kurt Davidson on the outside. He's in 4th place, way up the racetrack, and Jeff Winter appears to have not gotten going. He's got a whole group of cars stacked up behind him, Chris.
That he does. The 2 up front, though, still side by side, Jared. Neither one of them seems to be able to get an advantage out of the corner. Bobby Terrell will drive it down deep, but Bernard Persson will get into the throttle a little bit faster. They're still side by side coming to the line. Now Person's going to clear Terrell.
Bobby Terrell, I think, said, you know what, we're going to start losing some time to these guys if we don't get single file. And now Bobby Terrell has got Dale Nearad, Bernard Person's teammate, all over the back bumper of that number 5 machine. Then you got Kurt Davidson. Where did he come from? He's up to 4th place. Jeff Winter in 5th. TJ Bartel hanging out in 6th, just getting by Rachel Hunt.
It's incredible to see who's up front now. Dale Nearad up 24 positions to be in that 3rd position. Jeff Winter up 21. TJ Bartel up 14. Troy Torgerson up 26. This is an incredible amount of positions these guys have already had to do to get back, to get up here to start this race, and now they're up here battling for a win, or at least a podium.
Dale Nearad with 2 Cup wins, although the last one came quite some time ago for that 0-3, but he has been solid all season, sitting inside the top 10 in points. He is chasing down his teammate and Bobby Terrell in 2nd. Kurt Davidson in 4th. He's a part-timer for that team. And Jeff Chandler has wrecked. It's yellow flags out on the track, and the 31 has wrecked. Heavy damage.
A bad night, gone from bad to worse for Jeff Chandler. Just not the night that 31 car was expecting.
Jeff Chandler. Oh, there's somebody up against the wall. That's James Torrey. Oh, and he wrecks himself. Goodness, he's into the pit wall. He just got loose off the corner, Chris, and got stuck in the pit barrier, but that's going to bring out our 3rd caution. He got up into the 45 machine, got a little bit loose coming out of the corner, and then just nothing he could do at that point. He was along for the ride, ended up crashing into those barriers. That is pretty much going to end his night here tonight, Jared. And a tough break for Jeff Chandler, who had such a promising race, and it's all over for the 31 machine, as he has taken that car straight to the garage with heavy damage, and kind of unfortunate incident there as well. It certainly is unfortunate, but we talked about it several different times in different ways. Mistakes here on pit road and on the track can do that to you. That's what's going to happen here, and it looks like we're going to have a couple of leaders decide to pit real close there. Kurt Davidson, Troy Torgerson, Ralph Nolan, Michael Watts, Danny Staubitz, Darren Bruce, a number of other drivers are going to go down pit road here. They're going to try to mix things up on strategy, Jared. What a strategy move. Kurt Davidson committed. He was committed. Everybody else kind of split their decision. And that's going to move Sherwood Williford into the top 10 and Wayne Grossi back to the top 10. And you look at some of these drivers, Brody Hanna stays out, Chad Lang stays out, Casey McMullen stays out. We got a little bit of internet issues on that 23 machine as well. Steven Vrooman stays out. Chris, I mean, that's some interesting strategy going on. It certainly is. At this point, strategy will become a key factor. We know that these guys can make it from here on fuel, and that's going to make things that much more interesting. Now it's going to be about whether or not you can make it to the end on the tires that you have rather than the fuel. And we are about to find out, Chris. These guys, man, this race has just turned upside down so far tonight. It certainly has. I mean, if you look at our top 10, only 2 drivers in our top 10 started there. Rachel Hunt in 6th and Dean Doucette currently in 9th. What a race it has been. And, you know, Bobby Terrell has got those points, but the last thing he wants to do, Chris, is get involved in an incident. And tonight it doesn't seem like anywhere has been safe. For the first 38 laps, we thought we were going to have a green flag race, and then from that point on, it's kind of been a little bit caution-filled as all these drivers are getting a second swipe at it. It certainly is true. The only people that have been safe here at New Hampshire tonight,
It's been you and me, Jared, up in the booth.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And you know, you never know who could come in here and start making it unsafe. But my goodness, it's been a heck of a race for those of us up in the booth tonight, Chris. And you look at the top four; all those drivers are playoff drivers with wins. The top six have all won races. You have to go back to 7th place Sherwood Williford, 8th place Wayne Grossi, and 10th place Chad Lang to find your first drivers that have not touched victory lane yet this year.
And you mentioned it earlier, Sherwood Williford has won 2 of the last 3 times that we've been at this track. Now he's up in the top 10. We'll have to see what he can do, as he's not been quite so dominant here tonight. They've got him stacked back up, though, and we're about to go green.
About to go green again. Bernard Person will take the outside line. Terrell will take the inside line. Nearad, Jeff Winter, your top 4. Rachel Hunt, Bartel, Grossi, Williford, Lang, and Doucette, your top 10. Casey McMullen, with that damage from earlier in the race, or something with that 71 machine, he's in 11th place and trying to salvage something out of this race here tonight for the 71. Brody Hanna, with that penalty, he's up to 12th. Figueroa, a driver we haven't talked a lot about, in 13th, followed by Mayu and Vrooman, your top 15, as the pace car makes the left-hand turn, and we're about ready to get this thing going again here at the Magic Mile. Flagman holds the flag, and he drops it. Green flag is back out here in New Hampshire.
What an interesting start there by Person. He was almost already ahead of the 5 machine before the green ever came out. It seemed like Bobby Terrell was just kind of holding back there a little bit, Jared.
Yeah, and you don't want to get an advantage on the restart there. So Bernard Person, you know, if he has been over the pit speed or anything like that, or the pace speed, I apologize, could be a penalty, but we don't have that data up here in the booth. But right now, Bernard Person jumping out to the lead, Bobby Terrell to second, and Jeff Winter moving his way to 3rd place.
Certainly is. We've had 4 restarts here tonight, Jared, and each time the leader, or 2 of the times the leader chose the outside, 2 times they've chose the inside. It's been completely mixed here tonight with mixed results. Bernard Person chose the outside lane, able to get around Terrell pretty easily for this restart. Probably the most clean start we've seen so far tonight.
Cleanest start of the night if you're in the top 3 or 4, but it's all over the place back toward the back. Brody Hanna underneath of the number 4 car of Chad Lang. Casey Mullen there right behind them. Kevin Rupert, he was in an accident earlier. He's back up to 14th position. Lane Allen, who was in an accident, he's back up to 15th position as they all continue down the back straightaway, and they're just fanning out every which way right now, Chris.
They certainly are. Wayne Grossi now underneath Rachel Hunt in that 51. The 7 machine elected to not take tires by mistake on that first pit cycle, put himself way farther deep in the pack. Now he's made it all the way back up to almost fighting here for 6. Going to take 6 coming out of the corner, it appears.
And a great move there by Wayne Grossi on Rachel Hunt. Still 2 by 2. Remember, our 2-time winner is in 9th or 8th, and the other winner is in 9th. So these 2 drivers could still get it going. Brody Hanna's made his way into the top 10 in that number 23 machine. But up front is Bernard Person, but Bobby Terrell has started to chase in that number 8 cars. They've left the 30 and the 03 on the back burner right now.
They certainly have. These 2 have gotten away. Bobby Terrell wants to get back up there and get the lead for the first time here tonight. He's going to do everything he possibly can. He wants to be... Well, sorry, he's not the first time he's led all night. He led under caution earlier from after that incident, but he wants to get up here and run some green flag laps as your leader.
Well, these guys should be able to make it here on fuel. Wayne Grossi takes on that lap. Bernard Person. They have very similar looking cars from a distance. But Wayne Grossi in 6th place. Bernard Person leading. 50 laps to go. Rachel Hunt has wrecked. And that was up front, Chris. And she is up against the wall, and she's going to spin that car around, but we have to figure out what happened to the 51 machine.
Oh, and it looks like actually Dean Doucette got into the corner a little bit hard, slid up the track into Rachel, and wow, this one, a lot of people got damage from this one.
So here's Rachel Hunt down the front straightaway. Dean Doucette down in the corner. Oh, he just washes up the track. Heavy impact to the 51. And then she's sitting there, Figueroa, I believe, Solari involved, Vrooman involved. Oh my goodness.
And one thing about this track, Jared, is when you have other cars in front of you, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to see those braking points that you've set out on the track. That may have been the case there, as it looked like Dean Doucette just went real hard into the corner there. Didn't expect that Rachel was going to be running that middle groove, and just a little bit of contact between those two and a hard hit by Rachel Hunt. It looks like her night will be over.
Oh man, and on board Tony Solari there, and everything closed up, and he runs into the back of Joe Flanagan. I think Richie Coy was on the inside of Kurt Davidson, another driver in the top 5 at one point in time. He's got heavy damage as well, Chris, and this race has really turned upside down. So we have some drivers that have elected to stay out again. Bernard Persson, the race leader, one of them, Chris.
It's certainly an interesting strategy here to continue to stay out. These guys, they don't need to pit for fuel, Jared, but they do have a lot of laps on these tires with still 48 laps to go. That's going to make these cars sliding sideways throughout the field. It'll be interesting to see who's able to make their way back up through the field to actually catch up to our leader, Bernard Persson. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be the number 5 machine of Bobby Terrell.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And this whole race has changed upside down, Chris. I don't even know where to start. But to get everybody up that at home, we started off the race, 38 laps, green flag run. And Tim Bills dominated that. Jeff Chandler moved up into second place. We had a caution come out for I think it was just an innocent little spin on the back straightaway, and all of a sudden things have changed since then. We saw Tim Bills and Richie Coy get together. We saw Jeff Chandler try to get his way through the field a couple times, may have gotten in the back of some drivers, may have had some drivers come down on him, but eventually his night was ended by his own hand when he spun off turn 4 and slammed the pit barrier. And then we've had just everything has changed, and Dean Doucette getting into his teammate Rachel Hunt on the last one. Not really sure exactly what happened there, but those two drivers came together and several drivers involved, Chris. And that's where we're at right now. We have 47 laps to go. I think we ran the first 38 laps in as much time as we've ran the last 80 laps.
I definitely would say that is an accurate statement here tonight. These guys really just being very aggressive here at this track, and you kind of have to be just to be able to get around this place and get around your opponents. We talk about different driving styles here matters so much, but the way that you can drive deep into a corner here, and that's kind of what we're seeing here as guys are just really diving deep into the corner, trying to get everything they can out of these cars, sometimes not able to make it stick in the same lane.
No, they're not, and it's been a hectic race, but all of a sudden our top group has changed again significantly. But our personal race leader, Brody Hanna, is in second position. Kevin Rupert, he was involved in an incident. He's up to third. Casey Mullen fourth. Brian Helm, who was may have been involved in an accident, although I didn't see him get any damage, he's up to fifth again. Lane Allen is in sixth. Ralph Nolan, Mike Watts, Donnie Staubitz, and John Held, your top 10, as we're about ready to get this thing going again, Chris.
We've got them all stacked back up. Gary Griffith involved in an earlier wreck. He's going to start 12th. These guys are really battling back from some upsets early on in this race. We're going back green. Bernard Persson on the outside. Not quite the same restart as before. Still looks like he's going to clear the 23 going into the corner.
Check up deep in the field. Looked like Jeff Winter had to take evasive action, but this is going to leave Bernard Persson up front. Brody Hanna, he hasn't led tonight. He needs to get himself in the top 25 in points. He's chasing down the number 8 car. Kevin Rupert, he's on the outside of the playoff bubble. He needs good points tonight, and a win will change everything for him. Man, we got everything is coming together here toward the end of the New Hampshire 150. Bernard Persson leads this lap.
He certainly does, but Bernard Persson leads the lap, but Brody Hanna is there as we're under caution again. It looks like Jason Speer has spun it.
Jason Speer in the 83. We saw him spin earlier by himself. Did not bring out a caution. This time, it does.
And this time, he may have had a little bit of help.
So we got Jeff Winter on the inside, Wayne Grossi on the outside. And, oh, it looks like 3 wide. That's never going to work. And it looks like the 30 car gets into the 83 car and spins him out. So another tough break for the 83 machine.
That car already had some damage to it. Now it's going to have a lot more as it made contact with that inside wall. Just a rough night for that 83 machine.
So, Chris, we've got another caution. We've seen the pit strategy be changing up every single lap. Our top 10 is nowhere near what we had at the beginning of this race. And if you're somebody that's in the top 10, do you risk coming into the pit road? Or if you're somebody outside the top 25, do you come down pit road and then all of a sudden get yourself in a big mix of problems? As it looks like maybe Casey Mullen thought about it, he decides against it.
Yeah, looking at it after that last caution, the person that I would have expected to move back up through the field, Bobby Terrell, only made up one position from 18th to 17th, and that was Jason Speer after the accident. So it's really going to be hard to tell whether or not it was a good move for him to pit. At this point, it seems like track position matters a little bit more than tires, Jared.
Yeah, it looks like Kurt Davidson, Jeff Bratton, and Jason Speer are the only 3 drivers coming down on pit road from what we can see from our screen. But Chris, we look at this again, our top 10, we talked about earlier, we had 2 drivers that hadn't won inside the top 10 earlier in the race. Right now, we have 1 driver that's in the playoffs, Bernard Persson, 4th place in points with a win. And we have 1 driver with a win that's outside of the top 25 that needs to get in the top 25 to get himself in the playoffs, Brody Hanna. And the rest of these drivers haven't touched victory lane yet this year. I think the aggression is only going to go up from here.
It certainly is, because now a lot of these guys can see victory lane pretty much right in front of them. It's theirs to take, but the problem is they've got to get around the 8 car, and that's not been an easy case so far, as once he's got up here, kind of been pretty dominant on the restarts here, making things work his way. Bernard Persson won 1 time already this year at Road America. Now he's trying to go for an oval win. He broke the streak of bad luck on road courses by getting the victory at Road America. Now he's looking to break the winless streak here on an oval.
And Chris, Bernard Persson is our defending champion and has not had the season he's wanted. I think he'll agree to that. I think he's said that in many times we've talked to him. But he got that win at Road America, his first career road course win, and then he followed it up with a great solid run last week and at Atlanta. And now he's leading the race in New Hampshire. Is just a win, the shot in the arm this 8 team needed, because he has looked a lot different since Road America.
He certainly has that confidence in that 8 machine and that crew to get him up here and be in contention every week. And he's done it different ways, Jared. A couple, when we went to Atlanta last week, he did it with speed and resilience on the track. This time he did it with a little bit of strategy to get up here and just a wreck avoidance and able to get out front that way. So this 8 machine, he's kind of doing it a lot of different ways, proving that he has what it takes to get back into the playoff contention and actually fight for his 2nd championship, trying to make it back-to-back here in the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series.
Exactly right. But right now, it is all about Bernard Persson and Brody Hanna. One of these drivers, can they get it done? Mike Watts also in this battle. Casey McMullen, who was the point leader for a large portion of the season, he's in 3rd. Kevin Rupert on the outside of the points bubble. Can he get something? Brian Helm hasn't won. He's on the playoff bubble in 6th place. Ralph Nolan, Lane Allen, Donnie Staubitz, John Held, your top 10. Here we go. 40 laps to go here at the Magic Mile. Pace car is off. Green flag is up. Green flag is down. And we are back racing here in New Hampshire.
That we are, and another great restart there by the number 8 machine. He's easily able to clear Brody Hanna, who's now fighting to hang on to 2nd with Casey McMullen on the outside.
Casey McMullen in the 71, he had damage. He was a lap down. He was 2 laps down at one point in this race. Casey McMullen with a power move on the outside. He's chasing down Bernard Persson. Brody Hanna battles back in 3. Behind him, they're stacking up.
They certainly are. Bernard Persson really went wide in that corner. Looked like he had just overdrove the corner. Didn't lose any time, though, because McMullen and Hanna still battling and now still able to pull away from those 2, as he's now got almost a 0.6 of a second lead over the second place, which is where that battle is currently.
Kevin Rupert trying to find a way by. He can't do anything right now. Brian Helm there. But now Casey McMullen looks like he's cleared the number 23 car. Can Casey McMullen chase down Bernard Person to grab his first win of the season? Or can somebody else surprise the field as we have 35 laps to go, or 37 laps to go?
And back in the pack, we've got almost 3 wide racing as John Held, Greg Holt, and Gary Griffith are all right there battling for position, even farther back, 3 wide as well.
Andrew Poliski stuck in the sand with Sherwood Williford on the outside. Wayne Grossi on the inside. Poliski pulls out of it. Bobby Terrell's going to go for it. He's looking underneath his teammate, TJ Bartel. Grossi's looking underneath his teammate. That's not what you want. 3 wide with teammates.
It
Grossi
certainly
pulls
is,
out.
as they're able to pull. Grossi pulls out there, lets them get around. And man, there's some hard battling all over this track. As you could throw a blanket over almost, what is that, 10 cars right there?
I don't know. Oh, we got wreck. It's James Torrey spinning off the corner. And Brody Hanna gets by Casey McMullen at the same time. Kevin Rupert as well, and Brian Helm. So Casey McMullen drops to 5th. And Jace, that was right in that area you're watching, Chris. James Torrey, I think, just got the bad end of that stick.
And it does not look like there was any contact there. It just looks like the two got a little bit sideways coming out of the corner. And yep, that's exactly what it was. A little bit loose, trying to get everything he can out of that 2 machine.
I think he got loose, and I also think there was some connection issue that may have also impacted that. But James Torrey with some definite internet issues there as he is gets that car going. Didn't hit anything too hard. But that's going to be your 8th caution, Chris, and they've all come after lap 40.
It certainly has, and one thing that this is doing is kind of really helping those drivers with the fresh tires. The problem is that looking back, it looks like Bobby Terrell, who pitted from 2nd position, he's not been able to make up any positions. He's actually now exactly where he was when he pitted now, what, 3 cautions ago?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, the track position has seemed to be a big thing all night long, but now all of a sudden, this race has just turned completely upside down for these drivers. And we did have some drivers go on pit road. Greg Holt, Kurt Davison, Jeff Bratton, Andrew Poliski all down pit road. Some of those drivers had some damage from earlier. James Torrey also has made his way to pit road. Jeff Chandler, by the way, has made his way back out. He's got to get points, and he has moved his way to 35th position. But nobody has retired from this race except Rory Collins and Tim Bills, Chris.
Well, the race still is not yet over. Those guys can still make up valuable points just riding around here as long as they're able to maintain pace and not actually get any more damage here. Going to be a little bit different here up front. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys are doing as these tires are continuing to get a little bit older. That means we're going to start seeing a little bit of tire spin on the restarts, Jared.
So, Chris, we look at this, and you got Bernard Person. He's got that win. He's in the top 10 in points. He's locked in the playoffs. You got Brody Hanna. He's fighting to get in the top 25. He's got that win. If he gets in the top 25, takes the playoff spot away. Kevin Rupert, he's outside the playoff bubble. He's 18th in points. Overall, so he's 2 spots out of the playoffs, about 35 points out. He can grab a win. Brian Helm's on the playoff bubble. He can grab a win. How aggressive are you if you're Rupert or Helm or Nolan or Mike Watts as this race continues to dwindle down?
Oh, I think the aggression that we've seen in the back of the pack is going to start making its way to the front of the pack here as these guys, they want the win. They want to be able to get themselves into the playoffs here, Jared. The easiest way to do that is to get up and get into the above the cut line with points, and then also to get a lock in with the win as well.
Right now, these guys have about 33 laps to go. They're going to get the green with 32 laps to go. Some drivers trying to get off pit road to beat the pace car. Looks like they are going to do it. Randy McCanny, one of those. He's had some internet troubles, got involved in an accident earlier in the race. You got Adam Newton coming off the racetrack. He was also doing pretty well tonight. And now, Chris, I don't want to say this restarts for all the marbles. There's still a lot of racing to go. But I think the aggression level was already at a 10. I think it's probably at like a 20 now.
I definitely think you're right there. These guys now, they know what's coming. They know that they've been aggressive early on. At this point, you're racing basically to the flag, whether it's the caution flag or the checkered flag. You can't give up any position here on the track.
See Bernard Person electing the high side once again here. So Brody Hanna's going to be on the inside. He's second place. Then it's Helm and Rupert in the second row. McMullen and Nolan. Watts, Allen, Staubitz, and John Held up in the top 10 right now. Green flag is out back at the Magic Mile.
And that time, Brody Hanna got a little bit of a peek on what Bernard Person was doing. Unfortunately, got a little bit of wheel spin, wasn't able to get up side by side with the 8, but not near as good of a restart for that 8 machine as he would have liked.
3 wide deep in the pack, continue on. These drivers battling hard. Bernard Person going to take over the lead position. He goes to the way high side. We saw him do this a little bit with the Xfinity cars, really running that high side. But right now, Brian Helm has made his way to third place. He's all over the back of the 23.
He's not just over the back. He's on the inside of the 23, trying to make that 26 machine get into second position. He can see the leader and wants to be it coming out of 2. Not quite clear of Brody Hanna, but he's going to drive hard into 3, trying to slide up in front of the 23 machine.
Tries to slide up, can't do it. Brody Hanna with a good roll through the middle. Now Kevin Rupert is looking. Ralph Nolan is looking. Coming off the turn, and these guys, Brian Helm and Kevin Rupert, Ralph Nolan, John Held, Lane Allen, these guys have not won a race, and they continue to move forward. Casey Mullen definitely down on power as he's dropped to 7th place, now to 8th place as Dale Nearad's on the back bumper of him.
And all this is happening behind Bernard Person, who has a 0.6 of a second lead over the number 26 of Brian Helm. Brian Helm able to get around the 23. Now the 23 is under fire by Rupert. Behind them, Lane Allen and Ralph Nolan right there battling for the 5th position.
Greg Holt has headed on pit road. He is back out on the track. And my goodness, Chris, and Ralph Nolan goes to the high side, trying to get a good run there. And where did John Held come from? He is on the back bumper of Lane Allen now for 7th place.
And he's using that outside lane to try to get a little bit of momentum coming off the corner, working to his advantage. Unfortunately, not able to get the power down like the 14. The 14 pulls away just a little bit there. But man, this track is being racy for these guys. Everyone pretty much taking their own line here, Jared. We may have 42 drivers out on the field, on the track, and each one of them running just a little bit of different line.
Yeah, exactly right. Brody Hanna able to stave off the battle from Kevin Rupert. Rupert is one of the only drivers. He's actually the only driver amongst all 3 of FTSR series that hasn't had a single penalty yet this year. There are some in this series that have not had any penalties, but as far as the entire league, he's the only guy, and it's an unbelievable streak, and you can see why. In 4th place, has gotten run into. Ralph Nolan gives him a nudge to the middle of the corner, actually.
Yeah, you mentioned it there. Kevin Rupert hadn't had any penalties or anything like that. Ralph Nolan was trying to say, hey, you raced too clean. Get out of my way.
Brody Hanna, though, is looking ahead. He has got a great points night for that 23 machine. He just needs to get in the top 25 in points, and these would be very good for him if he's able to hold on to the position. Brian Helm, though, is trying to close down on his teammate. A win for that 26 machine. He's been second 3 times this year to Troy Torgerson at Darlington was the last time he finished second. This 26 team, if they can grab a win, it would change everything on the playoff bubble.
It certainly would. In the 26 machine and the 8 machine running pretty similar lines around this track, probably being teammates. They share a setup with a little bit of tweaking between the 2 drivers for the driving style of them. Bernard Person going all the way up against the wall here in this corner. Man, just really searching for every ounce of grip these guys are.
And we're back under yellow.
Out on the track as Gary Griffiths seems to have been crashed.
Up against the wall in turn number 1, Gary Griffith in the 12 machine. Let's see what happened here.
Oh, it looks like he just blew up there, Jared, as he was going into the corner, and it got him completely sideways. A little bit of contact there with, I think it was Troy Torgerson.
Yeah, the 12 car blows up, and luckily nobody hits him. And I think the contact was him just trying to hold on to that machine as those 2 drivers' teammates. And the 12 car has blown up, and now, Chris, it is another caution, 9th one tonight, which is a record at this track. And Bernard Person's going to have to do it again, but this time he's got his teammate next to him.
He certainly does, and it'll be interesting to see what lane he decides to pick. He's used the outside lane every restart since he's been the leader, and it's worked brilliantly to his advantage as he's always been able to clear going into one. But now this is going to be an incredible battle between these two teammates. And we mentioned it, Brian Helm has always been a bridesmaid, never a bride. Tonight, he can see it and wants to take it away, even if it's from his own teammate.
We do have some drivers taking their opportunity to get on the pits. Sherwood Williford from 11th, Donnie Staubitz from 12th, Bill Benedict, Darren Bruce, Josh Mayu, Jeff Bratton, Kenneth Schultz, all on pit road here as the race dwindles down. I like the call for some of those guys. A little bit surprised Sherwood Williford and Donnie Staubitz decided to come down.
Yeah, it seems a little bit late in the race for these guys, especially with what we've seen as far as track position mattering so much here. Going to be hard to fight your way back up. We're going to go green with about 21 laps to go, and that's going to be a short run. They may be able to make up a couple of spots, but I don't know. I mean, looking back through the field, we have kind of watched as a couple of drivers have tried that same strategy. The first one, Bobby Terrell, in the 13th position with that number 5 car, he's only been able to make up 5 in I think about, well, it's been about 45 laps at this point, and over half of which have been in caution.
Wait, look at the last pit laps, and we'll bring that up on the bottom right-hand side here for for everybody at home. Dale Nierat, actually, and Dean Doucette all pitted on lap 101. So did TJ Bartel. So did Bobby Terrell. So these guys. So there are some drivers that have moved forward. Chris, Bobby Terrell has struggled to do so, though.
And that's just the issue with being around those other drivers, being back in the back of the pack. The hardest thing to do around this track is really to move yourself up into position here, and that's really what's affecting these drivers. A lot of them, especially for the number 5 machine, just hadn't been that far back in the pack. Didn't really understand what their car was going to do. Same deal with Richie Coy right behind him. These two drivers really are struggling around other cars, it seems like. They're getting really tight.
Well, we saw Richie Coy up front, Bobby Terrell up front, and you have to wonder, Chris, they have those cars maybe set up for being out in clean air. Although it is the low downforce, high horsepower package, there is still some downforce that's to play with these cars.
It certainly is, as it looks like Bernard Person's going to take the outside lane here again. And, man, this is just it's going to be a battle between teammates up front, as these guys both want the win. Bernard Person's already got 1 win on the season, looking to add 2. And Brian Helm wanting that first career victory, or not career victory, but first victory here and trying to make his way into the playoff battle. Really wants to shake up the playoff position, kind of like Eric Amarola did in the actual Cup race, Jared.
Yeah, you are correct, though, Chris. He has not won in the Cup Series in his career yet. He has been a truck champion, but has yet to win in the Cup Series. Came so close, as we said, 3 times. Brian Helm, can he get it done now? And can he get going on this restart? Kevin Rupert doesn't want Brian Helm to win because that's a playoff spot that could be taken away right now. He's on the back bumper of the 8. Everybody trying to get the best restart. Pace car is off. Green flag is back out here. 20 laps to go.
20 laps to go, and the 8 machine easily able to clear Brian Helm, as now he's battling Kevin Rupert. Those two drivers pretty much touching through the corner.
Kevin Rupert, the last driver he wants to see win is that 26 machine, because that's a playoff spot. So he is battling tooth and nail to hold off. He might have something for they're side by side using 8 wheels. Brian Helm contact with the 1 car. They hold on to it.
And Bernard Person is loving this as he's able to pull away 6/10 in just that 1 lap. The 2 behind them really battling it out here for second. Brian Helm really deep into the corner, going up into the 1 again, Jared.
The 1, Kevin Rupert getting used up. We're under yellow flag again. It's Troy Torgerson and Chad Lang involved. Heavy damage on the 98. That was a battle inside the top 10. And let's see what happened with those replays. So Troy Torgerson, he's there right on the back of Jeff Winter alongside Tracy Powers. Oh, and it looks like maybe Tracy Powers got in the back of Jeff Winter, and then looks like Troy Torgerson had to check up just a little bit. Poliski involved. Steven Vrooman involved with some light contact, and we're back under caution again.
Yeah, that was a wreck that started going into the corner and didn't actually come out until about halfway through the corner. Just nowhere for these cars to go when they're that bunched up trying to check up. It's just incredibly difficult into those corners, kind of the smallest area on the track for these guys, and nowhere to go when you're almost 4 or 5 wide like they were.
Kevin Rupert was given second place at the scoring loop, so he'll move into that spot. So he's going to restart the highest he's restarted all year long, as Casey Mullen dummied to pit road and almost hit the pit barrels at the end of pit road there. That would have not been what he needed tonight.
Trying to fake out the drivers behind them, but that 71 machine almost ruining his night. Kind of a hard-fought night for that 71 machine. Laps down early after getting loose at the very beginning of the race, still able to keep it up in the top 10, even with a little bit of damage and a little bit low on horsepower, and still able to maintain enough pace to stay in your top 10. Still an impressive night for the 71 bunch, trying to maintain and get as many points out of tonight as possible.
Yeah, let's take a look through the field right now while we have a second on this caution. We've talked about our top 5 ad nauseum, but we have Ralph Nolan in 6th, John Held 7th, Casey McMullen in 8th, Dale Nearad in 9th, followed by Dean Doucette in your top 10. Looking outside there, TJ Bartelt up to 11th. He's missing his rear clip, but that car's still cooking. Mike Watts in 12th. Richie Coy, who was involved in an early incident with Tim Bills, he's back up to 13th. Jeff Winter in 14th. Bobby Terrell in 15th. 16th is Wayne Grossi. Tracy Powers 17th. Greg Holt with significant damage in 18th. Kurt Davidson in 19th. And James Torrey in 20th, Chris. That's your top 20 right now here at New Hampshire.
And we've got just under, I think we'll have 14 laps to go when we go green here, Jared. This track, these drivers, everything is getting exhausted here tonight, and they are showing it with the amount of aggression that these guys are doing, even farther back in the pack here. Every single position here matters, and beyond that, they're doing it as aggressively as possible.
We're scrolling through the last little bit, Chris, but you're exactly correct. These drivers and you look through these drivers, we're on board with several of them here under this caution. It seems like almost every driver outside about the top 10, or even some inside the top 10, have some damage on their vehicles tonight. Everybody used up, using every ounce of what's given to them right here tonight. And you look at these drivers inside the top 30, Jeff Bratton in 31st, Adam Newton back on the lead lap in 32nd, Troy Torgerson 33rd. He's the last driver on the lead lap. Jeff Chandler got the lucky dog, but he is several laps down in 34th. Tony Solari in 35th position. Gary Griffith is out of the race in 36th. Mark Figueroa has come back out, and he is in 37th, but will likely move forward. But we have 4 drivers currently out: Roy Collins, Tim Bills, Rachel Hunt, Joe Flanagan, and now Randy McKinney has actually joined those. Or no, Randy McKinney is back out there. It looked like he was out of the race. So 4 drivers still out of the race here tonight. 37 still running, 33 on the lead lap, Chris. We are down to 15 laps to go.
15 laps to go, and Bernard Person has to do another restart, landing it just as even as possible. But now it's going to be Brody Hanna behind him on that outside lane. We've seen it. The second place car kind of seems to not be able to get off on the restart near as well as that outside lane. The Rupert is going to have to make it happen on the inside to stay ahead of Hanna.
Pace car is off. Bernard Person leads him down. Green flag is back out, and Bernard Person and Brody Hanna both with a great restart. Rupert spun the tires.
That he did, and it looks like he's going to have to drive deep in the corner to stay beside Hanna. Does so. Hanna on the outside, going to have to power out of the corner. Still going to be side by side coming out of the corner. Now Hanna will take over.
Ralph Nolan, where did he come from? 3 wide. Brian Helm down the inside. He forces his way through there, and he's going to move up into 3rd place. Ralph Nolan up in the high side. Rupert's battling back. What a move by the 26.
Certainly an aggressive move there, and I think Brody Hanna was watching along with us as he went all the way to the wall there, watching the action behind him.
Brian Helm. If he ends up getting inside a winning position here, that'll be the move of the race. Mark Figueroa has headed down pit road with damage on that number 04 machine. Rupert is trying to hold off Ralph Nolan. That's a battle for the top 5. Dean Doucette, Casey Mullen, and Lane Allen, all teammates battling for 6th place right now. Dale Nearad in that mix, and John Hill hits the wall, and several drivers involved. Tracy Powers, Sherwood Williford. Jason Speer misses it somehow, and I don't know how that started, but there was action in front of John Held, and then he gets in the wall, and everybody's involved. Front straightaway blocked, Chris.
Just nowhere to go for a lot of these different drivers. What an interesting moment here, and man, a lot of guys with a lot of damaged race cars.
Let's take a look and see what happened here. I don't even know where to start with this one. There is so much that happened on that one. Several drivers involved. So we're not too far from the start of the race. So there it is. Dean Doucette is in front of all this group, and a little bit of a checkup. And it looks like maybe the 10 car just got loose. Gets into Mike Watts, who gets into his teammate. Tracy Powers is in there. Jason Speer is in there. Chad Lang, Sherwood Williford, the defending winner. Greg Holt involved. Donnie Staubitz involved. Let's see if we can get a better look at that, Chris. My goodness, several drivers involved.
Almost have to use the blimp to see every car that was involved, as that entire crash took up the entire straightaway.
And that almost looked like maybe some sort of failure on that number 10 machine. It looked like the car just kind of went left on him, and man, several drivers involved, and this race is really changed, and I think the aggression has reached over a boiling point at this point.
It certainly has, and all of this is just making matters worse for a lot of these different drivers, as they don't want to be in this position with all these damaged race cars. You know, we mentioned that it kind of resembles Martinsville as far as the braking zones. Well, tonight, starting to look like Martinsville out there with a lot of damaged race cars.
Yeah, it is, you know, it's really changed. This race has very green flag feel for the first quarter of this, or third of this race. And then everything has changed quite a bit with some aggressive moves. You see Jeff Chandler getting one of his laps back, and with so many drivers involved in that wreck, this could be very beneficial for Jeff Chandler in as far as points go, and trying to pick up some extra points. But my goodness, I mean, we have seen some aggression that I just didn't expect to have here at New Hampshire. We saw this a couple weeks, or about 3 or 4 weeks ago now at Pocono, where the drivers just were all over each other, some very aggressive moves. But the playoffs, I think, have a lot to do with it, Chris, and you can feel the tension down there, especially when you look at that top 10 and you see the amount of winners in it.
Absolutely, Jared. And next week's going to be no better as we go to North Wilkesboro, another short track with heavy braking zones. It's going to be an incredible race to watch. And as we get that much closer to the playoffs, we're going to see this aggression all the way to the playoffs.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chris, and that brings up a really, really good point, because the schedule doesn't get any easier for these guys. While the regular Cup drivers are off for the Olympics, we are continuing to race here at FTSR. So they'll have North Wilkesboro, Kentucky, that was originally the Nashville replacement, and then we got surprised with Nashville Super Speedway coming out, so it's going to be coming up in its rescheduled date. Then we have a road course at Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, Michigan, and Daytona, and that is the Indy Oval at this time, barring any kind of release by iRacing. It looks to be the Oval still. But Chris, 6 races to go after tonight, and you can feel the tension, and there are so many drivers in this top 10 that have not won a race, that are outside the playoffs. I just think we're still going to have more incidents.
Absolutely. I don't think we're quite done yet, Jared, but all of this is going to happen behind Bernard Person and Brody Hanna. Brody Hanna is now going to be on that inside lane, which we've noticed just has not had the speed coming off of the corner, always been battling behind, trying to keep up in that second position. Bernard Person electing the high side again. just a couple more restarts, and we've seen drivers already starting to spin those tires. We're going to have to watch for it again here as we're about to go green.
Pace car is off. Flagman again, once again, 10th restart of the night, and a good one. Brody Hanna spins the tires on the inside line. Rupert with a great restart, and now always contact with Brody Hanna. And everybody piles in, and we are under yellow.
Cautions, read cautions, Jared, and that's what we had there. Brody Hanna got a little bit into Rupert there, and really it just set Rupert on a crash course there. Not much anything that these drivers could do but hold on and try to avoid contact, but really nowhere to go.
And Casey Mullen tried to straighten him up, and did, in fact, straighten up Kevin Rupert, but and I don't know what Brody Hanna could have done differently there, but that is a tough situation. Let's jump on board that number 23 machine and see this restart from his perspective here. And you'll see Rupert there on the inside. And I don't know. It's a tight call on that one. Both drivers kind of came together, and Rupert, the one that's going to get the negative end of that stick, is he's going to drop to 15th place. And once again, another restart.
Certainly there, just a racing incident. These two drivers were just trying to go their own line here. We mentioned how many different lines there are around these corners there. Brody Hanna was looking to do a little bit wider apex going into the corner than Rupert, and really that's what it came down to. Not really anyone's actual fault there. No intentional wreck at all. It's just a situational accident that happened, and it's going to restack them again.
And aggression has gone, as we said, it was at a boiling point. It is boiled over at this point, as no quarter is given. At the very least, we could say that neither driver, the 1 or the 23, gave any inch there. We saw that earlier with Richie Coy and Tim Bills, although there were some little extracurriculars involved in that one. Mike Watts involved in early wreck. He's going to get the lucky dog and get one of his laps back. But 5 to go, Chris. We're not going to get a green. This is not going to be a green-white checker. So we're still going to have that available in the arsenal, but it's going to be a de facto green-white checker.
It certainly is, and one thing to watch here, Bernard Person's going to have that outside lane, which seems to work really well here. Brody Hanna going to be in the inside again, but on the outside of that second row, Brian Helm, we saw that aggressive move by Helm earlier on a restart. Is he going to be able to make the same things happen here? At least get up into second position behind Bernard Person, try to reach out and get to his teammate to try to steal this win away.
Yeah, I think if you're Brian Helm, I don't think there's a quote-unquote teammate at this point in time. You're on the playoff bubble. You need the win. I mean, the points are great, but the points don't guarantee you anything unless you're the point champion at the end of the year. It doesn't guarantee you anything. And with the way this season has gone, with the many different winners that we've had this year, I think you got to take your opportunities when you get it. And same with Ralph Nolan Jr., who is in 4th place. Both of those guys I expect to just amp it up and go for it here, as we're about ready to get this thing going again.
Certainly, they do have teammates here on the track, but that does not matter at all when it comes down to the playoffs and points positions. You mentioned it, the points only matter to an extent. At this point, these guys are going to need to win to even be considered for the playoffs, as we've had so many different winners in this series and this league, and really a lot of different drivers here are going as hard as they possibly can to make everything happen.
Exactly
and
right.
Actually looks like Brian Helm will end up starting on the inside lane, not the outside.
Yeah, so he was in 3rd. So yes, you're right. He's going to be on the inside line behind Brody Hanna. And we've seen Brody Hanna kind of spin the tires. It's kind of been an issue for the 23 car at some of the tracks. Not all of them, but we've seen this out of the 23 in the past. Spinning those tires just a little bit on the restarts. But then the next restart, he'll have one of the best restarts we've seen all year. We'll see which one he has now, as Bernard Person has Ralph Nolan Jr. behind him. Brody Hanna's Brian Helm. Green flag is up. Green flag is down. We're back racing here. Magic Mile, 3 laps to go.
Bernard Person gets a great jump on that outside line. Right behind him, he's bringing Ralph Nolan Jr. as well, as they are side by side for second. Oh, Brody Hanna really deep. He's getting the Person. The Person's around.
Bernard Persson has wrecked. Brian Helm has wrecked. And Ralph Nolan Jr. is the race leader.
Ralph Nolan Jr. just in the right place at the right time there as Brody Hanna and Bernard Persson collect each other. And wow, what an incredible moment. We've seen wreck after wreck on these restarts. That is some aggressive driving there, Jared.
Wow. And again, I feel like we're going to have to take a replay of this, obviously. But my goodness gracious, this race has turned upside down, and the playoffs could turn upside down as well. Let's take a look and see what happened here. Here's the restart. Let's get a little bit better view of this. So here we go. Brody Hanna didn't get a great restart, but he gets a great run through the corner, and Bernard Persson just didn't. And I'm not putting the blame on Bernard Persson here, and Dean Doucette gets into Brian Helm and his teammate there. Everybody else does a great job, but that's how Brian Helm gets involved. But I don't know, Chris. Let's look at another view of this. It just looked like Bernard Persson just did not get through the middle of that corner nearly as well as Nolan or Brody Hanna did.
Not at all, and what he was trying to do was trying to make a little bit of a diamond in the corner there. So he was purposely trying to go back down low there, but the problem was that Brody Hanna had gotten in a huge run on that inside lane there, and really that's what did it for that incident there. It was not Brody Hanna's fault at all. Bernard Persson kind of came down into Hanna there, just trying to make that diamond corner.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely not going to assign any blame on any of these incidents tonight that involve multiple drivers, but very aggressive driving to say the least. And again, like we said earlier, at the very least, neither driver giving each other quarter. But all of a sudden, an Eric Almirola situation has come forth in front of us with Ralph Nolan Jr. leading the race. Now, Ralph Nolan Jr. is in 23rd in points. He is unlikely to make the playoffs on points. He is about 55 points outside of that right now, Chris, and a win would shake everything up.
It certainly will, and man, this things are just completely interesting here. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Where's Ralph Nolan going to start? Is he going to be the outside or the inside lane here? It's going to be interesting to see. We've seen all of the different leaders kind of have a mixed strategy when it came to that and where they're going to restart. Brody Hanna kind of has been spinning the tires quite a bit on the last few restarts, able to power through turn one and really get back up there with some deep driving into the corner here. But Ralph Nolan, he's got a big decision to make here, Jared.
A big decision, and it could be a playoff implication decision for Ralph Nolan Jr. Also, Lane Allen is in third place. He hasn't won. Dean Doucette, who has one win at this track out of the 3 races, he's in 4th place. Jeff Winder, he's been involved in some accidents, not of his own doing. He's back up to 5th. Dale Nearad in 6th. Casey Mullen, we believe, is down on horsepower in that number 71 car. He's still hanging on to 7th place. Terrell's in 8th. Coy's back up to 9th. Wayne Grossi in 10th. I mean, it's anybody's race, but right now I have to focus on those top 5 positions, as I think the winner is going to come from one of those. What does Brody Hanna do to win this race? What can Ralph Nolan do to hold off this car-charging group behind him and shake the playoffs to their core like Eric Almirola did yesterday? We're about to find out, Chris.
Ralph Nolan Jr. has one thing in mind, and that's getting to the flag. Does not matter at this point if it's going to be the caution flag or the white flag. He is going to want to be in front of this pack when it all goes down. He's going to lead them to the green flag here. This is going to be a green-white checkered for real.
And this is a real green-white checkered, so the next flag ends it. So once they get across the line, it's either the checker flag or it's a caution flag. It doesn't matter. Next flag ends it. Pace car is off. Ralph Nolan Jr. will lead him down. Green flag is out here at New Hampshire. And a great start.
An interesting start there by the 2 leaders. The outside lane really getting a huge push there by Dean Doucette. Brody Hanna was able to make the inside work as he had to check up. He was almost about to beat the leader. And Ralph Nolan Jr. now got a clear lead over Brody Hanna. He is seeing the white flag this next after this corner. He's wanting, it doesn't matter what happens as long as it happens behind him.
Dean Doucette, Dale Nearad all over the back. White flag for Ralph Nolan Jr. First laps he's led this tonight. I don't know if it's the season, but Ralph Nolan Jr. leading him into turn number 1. Brody Hanna in second. Dean Doucette in third. Dale Nearhead all over the back of Dean Doucette for that position. Lane Allen in fifth. Bobby Terrell makes a move on sixth. Ralph Nolan Jr. continues to lead. Brody Hanna trying to chase him down, going into turn number 3. Ralph Nolan Jr. Brody Hanna makes a lunge at it. Tries to make a move, but coming off turn number 4 for his first career victory, Ralph Nolan Jr. is going to get it and punch his ticket to the playoffs.
That's how it's done. You have to avoid all of the mess, all of the melee, get around here. That's what it takes. Ralph Nolan Jr. able to make it happen. He's going to be your P1. Behind him, Brody Hanna tried everything he could, just couldn't get there, Jared.
And Brody Hanna second. Dean Doucette holds off Dale Nearhead for third. Ralph Nolan will grab the victory. Bobby Terrell sneaks a top 5. I don't know how, but he manages to sneak a top 5 in this race. Jeff Winter 7th. Wayne Grossi 8th. Richie Coy recovers for 9th. And TJ Bartel will grab the top 10 position. And, Bernard Person does not look happy as he's coming down the pit road right now, Chris. And he is up on the back bumper of the 23 car. Didn't hit him, but definitely letting him know that that was not what he wanted tonight.
Not at all. Heartbreak for that 8 crew, as he definitely did not enjoy what happened, but really no fault of that 23 machine from my perspective, Jared. Just a really disappointed person trying to show his displeasure.
Well, we're going to catch our breath, and we're going to hear from our top 3 finishers, the 95, the 23, and Dean Doucette, who came out of nowhere to grab that podium finish. But what a job by Ralph Nolan Jr. He's burned it down for the virtual crowd here at New Hampshire in his number 95, and we're going to be right back after this commercial break. We are back live here at the Magic Mile, where magic has happened and Ralph Nolan Jr. grabs his first career Cup Series win, and it couldn't have come at a more opportune time, Chris.
It certainly couldn't have. A lot of things happened in this race to change what was happening up front. Ralph Nolan was able to get around most of everything to be able to stay up front, get an opportunity to take the lead, and really all he had to do was make sure he retained it, was able to do it here tonight.
And let's take a look at the point standings after tonight. Bobby Terrell retains the points lead. Richie Coy moves up to second place. Torgerson drops one. Dale Nearad to fourth. Casey Mullen does not move. Bernard Person drops two. And your top 10 it now includes Wayne Grossi as Rachel Hunt drops down. So does Randy McCanny. Your bubble driver right now is looks like Andrew Poliski is now, or sorry, Brian Helm is still in the bubble, but that bubble has shrunk to 6 points now, Chris.
6 points with 6 races to go. Anything can happen here, Jared, and these guys, they know it if they're close to that cut line.
And we're about to hear from some of those drivers that were involved in a very adventurous race here tonight. And Chris, I believe that you are down on pit road with the driver of the number 29 machine, Dean Doucette, who had a front row for a lot of action.
I certainly am. Dean Doucette really was able to make this race kind of come to you in that number 29 machine. Take me through what this race was for you.
I don't know what this race was for me. It's a third place finish, baby. That's all I know. I don't know how, but you know, we didn't really have the piece we wanted tonight. She was a little tight. I got into my teammate earlier, Rachel. Feel horrible about that. That was just bad on me. But at one point, we tried to save some gas, Chris. We thought maybe it's our only shot to win here. Maybe if this thing goes green, I'll save a little gas here. That didn't play out, but it led to alternate strategies, and I think that's how I ended up where I am.
You certainly did, was able to make it through. It seemed like track position here meant so much to everyone here tonight with the amount of aggressive driving that we saw. Really, was that your game plan once you got up into this top 5?
Well, it should have been, Chris, but like I said, I tried to save gas, so I dropped all the way back from the top 10 back to like 25th or something like that. Then at that point, more cautions happened, and I got in an alternate tire strategy. And then from there on, it was just, yeah, track position, right? I'm not giving it up. I'm not pitting again. And we just got lucky with some of the wrecks. I mean, we got involved a little bit at the end there, but really these guys kind of took themselves out of contention and kind of handed us a third place.
Third place on a very hard fought night here with a record amount of cautions at New Hampshire, able to get that P3 position. Is there anyone that helps get this virtual number 23 to and from the track each week?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Team Blackwater over there, nobody more than Lane Allen. Got to thank him for all the hard work he puts in over with that team. And of course, Steve Barry, who owns Blackwater USA products. Go check them out. Great bunch. Full Throttle Sim Racing. And I want to thank you guys up in the booth as well. Always doing a great job.
We're heading to North Wilkesboro next week. Another short track, Dean. What can we expect out of this number 29 bunch?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, we didn't have what we wanted tonight. We were too tight. And when we tried to loosen her up, we were too loose. So we're scratching our heads a little bit here, but still finishing okay. So I think we learned some lessons about track position, about keeping the car clean and healthy. And maybe that'll propel us to another top 3.
Absolutely. Well, we'll look forward to watching this number 29 bunch next week at North Wilkesboro. Congrats again on the P3 position.
Thank you so much, Chris.
And Jared, I think you've caught up with Brody Hanna in that number 23 machine, who really had to work hard to stay up there in that front row on all those restarts, Jared.
Yeah, I'm down here with the 23 machine of Brody Hanna. And Brody, you had probably the most adventurous night, or one of the most adventurous nights here for the 23, but a huge points night for you, grabbing second place. Congratulations.
Hey guys, long time no see. Yeah, no, it was it was adventurous for sure. Qualified 7th, had to get it back for a penalty, and I had to use a little pit strategy to get back up there. So hanging on to second, hey, I'm completely happy with that.
Yeah, so let's talk about the beginning of the race. Had to start shotgun on the field, 43rd position, And we go green flag for 40 laps, and you had made your way up inside the top 25 at that point in time. The 23 car looked really strong at that point. Caution comes out, you make a little pit strategy move, and all of a sudden that 23 car is starting to edge its way forward. Did you have a good car tonight, or did the attrition kind of help you out at the end of this race?
Well, I think we had a good car, but being in traffic back there, it's hard to. I mean, even with new tires, you see the guys in new tires. If you don't get green flag laps, it's just so hard to pass. You get bogged down in traffic back there. It's hard to make anything happen. But I did pit with right past halfway or so, and I told the guys at that point. I said, it's going to go one or two ways. Either we're going to have a caution fest, or we're going to go green from here. Well, turns out we had the first of those two, and then just decided to stay out on the old tires, stay in track position and just try to hang on for a top five. I'm thrilled with the second place, just the position we were in, starting in the back and old tires up front. Couldn't be happier.
It was a solid run for you tonight, Brody. But we have to talk about some of the late race incidents. So the first one that came up there, you and the one car get together. Looked like it was just kind of a coming together more than anything, and just unfortunate on that one between you and the one.
Yeah, I really don't know. I went back and looked at both of these. On the one, it just looks like we were, I guess, going for the same spot there or whatever, and there was contact. It actually kind of surprised me when it popped up and gave me an incident, and I was like, well, what happened? And I saw the one in the mirror falling back. So hate that for him. He had a great run going. We were just trying to hang on up there, and it looks like a little contact there cost him. So apologies to him and his guys.
And then on that second incident, it looked like, Bernard Person had a great restart, got out in front, and then you and Ralph Nolan just carried through the middle of the corner, maybe a little bit more than the 8 car did there, and a little bit unfortunate between those two, you and the 8 there.
Yeah, I was looking at that one pretty heavily, and I rolled the bottom. I was kind of surprised how well the bottom was able, how the car was able to roll the bottom. I was able to roll in there and get under the 8, but it looks like the 8 was kind of angling the corner there. He was arcing the corner, and looked like he arced down to get the run off the corner, and I just was there, and that's unfortunate for him. He had a good run. We had a good couple restarts, couple battles there. He was obviously a little bit stronger than me with the newer tires and all. Yeah, it's just it was unfortunate.
Yeah, it's tough racing. It looked like just some bad situations. Not really anybody to put on blame there for sure. It's just tough racing, especially when the playoffs are on the line. And Brody, you I don't know officially. I'll have to look again, but you're very close to that top 25. 6 races to go. We got North Wilkesboro coming up next. Can this 23 team get in there and steal yet another playoff spot like we saw tonight?
That's the goal, but that's been the goal the last couple of weeks and just hasn't went our way. So just good solid finishes is really all we need. It's all I was focused on tonight, and just things kind of fell our way. We was able to stay out on pit strategy and kind of hang in there at second place. So yeah, I mean that's the focus. That's what we're doing. Solid runs. And I do want to say, great to see Ralph get his first win. That was awesome. He did a great job there avoiding that wreck there. And honestly, I thought when me and the 8 made contact, I was like, oh, I'm going to come out of here with the lead. And here he comes blasting by me on the outside. So did a great job on the restart, hung on there and got the win. So congrats to him for sure.
Well, Brody, Hannah, what a race you had. Solid second place tonight. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word here tonight.
Well, I got to thank the guys on Fury Motorsports and Take Two, and got to thank Darkmatter Designs for sponsoring the series. Got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and thank all the drivers out there. It was a kind of tough one there at the end. There's a lot of restarts, a lot of beating and banging going on. So hope everybody kind of licks their wounds and moves on.
Apologies, Brody. I think we might cut you off there.
Oh, that's fine. I was pretty much done, but thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and yeah, so awesome.
All right, Chris, that was our second place finisher, Brody Hannah, who is definitely going to move up in the points and put himself on the threshold of making the playoffs with that win in the bank. But you're down in victory lane with the driver of the number 95 who grabs his first career victory, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Chris Speer, I think you're down there with Ralph Nolan Jr.
I certainly am. Ralph Nolan Jr., you led 7 laps here tonight. Of those, only 3 of them were green flag laps. What did you do to get this number 95 here in Victory Lane?
I didn't hit anything. Nothing hit me, pretty much. Going into this race, telling some of my friends, if I get a top 15, I would take it. This is not one of my better tracks. And the later the run kind of went on, it was like Pocono. The seas just parted. And I kept putting myself in the right spot at the right time and just luckily was able to actually get it done. And it's just unbelievable. I don't win many races in iRacing. I haven't won a race in 6 years, and I don't know what the odds would have been for me to win, but I would have made a lot of money.
You certainly would. Started this 95 machine back in 17th, was able to make your way up front. Really, it came down to that final restart and the outside groove. You got a little help. Dean Doucette pushed you across the start line there on that last restart. What were you thinking going into turn 1 with Brody Hanna right there charging hard, trying to get up to you?
Well, I could not have timed the start any better. Right as the lights turned on, I was on the throttle, and it was probably the best restart I've ever had. And you know, I saw I had a little bit of cushion going into 1, so it was like, okay, just don't overdrive. I don't care if they catch me, just don't overdrive a corner and ruin it. If they pass me and whatever, fair, that's fine. But don't take yourself out of a position to ruin it for yourself. And that was pretty much the only thought I had. I saw they were catching me on the white flag. I was like, just hit marks, don't worry about it, and you're going to bring it home. And luckily I was able to do that.
That you were. This is your first career win in this number 95 car in the Cup Series. What kind of emotions are going through your head right now?
You know, to win here is extremely difficult. And it's just such a euphoria right now. I honestly can't believe I was able to pull this off. I mean, I know I'm a pretty good driver. I know I can get it done. It's just sometimes you got to have a little bit of luck. And again, at a track that coming in today, I had no expectations. I didn't start testing until this afternoon about 5 o'clock, and I just luckily the setup was decent enough. And again, I was able to stay out of trouble, and that's pretty much the main thing that happened. And I stayed out of trouble. I kept the nose clean. I didn't hit the wall. I didn't really put myself in a position to get into trouble, and I was able to to bring it home. And it's just an amazing feeling.
It certainly is. And who is it that helps gets this 95 to and from the virtual track?
I got to thank my friend John Tenney, my sponsor, Employernomics. It's a good friend of mine. My first ever racing league I ever ran in back in 2002. He was the owner, and we've been friends ever since. So he's my basically my sponsor and good friend. And again, I got to thank some of my guys from my former team, No Excuses Racing. You know, some of the setups that they still let me use and help me out. And so those guys I really have to thank. And you know, just you guys for putting on a great show, a great league, and a great broadcast. And it's awesome to finally get an interview, a podium, let alone a win. But I definitely love the win.
Absolutely. Next week we're heading to another short track at North Wilkesboro. What can we expect out of you there?
Well, last year didn't have a very good run. I was kind of pinballed the entire time, unfortunately. So we didn't have a good run. Just need to try to do what we did here. Keep the fenders on, try to stay out of trouble, and try not to be in the hornet's nest. And we'll just see what happens. You know, I'll probably put a little bit more time into a setup and testing this week when I get some free time. I don't really have as much free time to do testing as most people do, but just need to get ready. And we know right now we're in a playoff spot, and that's unbelievable. So let's just try to keep consistent. We've been having better finishes as the last few weeks, and to get a win is great. And let's just keep the momentum going, and hopefully we stay clean and have a good race.
Absolutely. We'll be looking forward to this 95 car next week at North Wilkesboro. Congrats again on the P1 finish. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Again, just thank you guys. I also want to thank my girlfriend Danielle, who allows me to do this stuff, even though sometimes she eye rolls at me for it. But she's a great supporter of everything I do in online racing and everything. And again, you guys do a great job, and it's a great league. And let's just keep it going forward, and let's keep putting on a good show.
Absolutely. Congrats again. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. Jared, a hard-fought night here for the 95 and for really everyone in this field. no one had an easy night here at all. I mean, there was everyone driving all over the track, all over each other, really doing everything they can. You can tell playoffs are near.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. And what a popular win it is. Ralph Nolan Jr., we talked about Kevin Rupert having no incidents coming tonight. Ralph Nolan Jr. has never had any penalties either, but he only runs Cup. I mean, he's a clean driver, very respectable, and just an all-around good guy. And it's very awesome to see him grab a win. And even more for us, Chris, for me and you, I think I could say it's awesome to see somebody that we didn't expect win a race and shake up the playoff picture.
I think you're absolutely right here. Everything about this series has been pretty calm up until we've gotten till the 10 laps left to go, or 10 races left to go to the playoffs. And you can really see everyone is putting that much more effort into each week here, doing everything they possibly can. No one wants to not be in the playoffs, and you can certainly see it.
Exactly right. And we're going to have all the countdown to the playoffs coming up. 6 races remaining. We're going to be back on Monday night for North Wilkesboro, where Sherwood Williford is the defending winner. He was the defending winner at New Hampshire as well, but unfortunately was not able to get to defend that championship there. But maybe he can get it done at North Wilkesboro. But it was a tough race for a lot of drivers here tonight. We're going to have all the playoffs continuing on Full Throttle TV. Coming up this week, the Blackwater Products Truck Series, their playoff march. They have 6 races to go as well. Those guys are going to be at Indianapolis Raceway Park, or I think it's now known as Lucas Oil Raceway, on Wednesday night. So check out that. Tomorrow night, we're going to have the next gen cars with Kickin' Asphalt Racing League. Those guys are going to be at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Check that out. Should be a really entertaining race where Tracy Powers has been dominating that series so far. And then on Saturday night, the Sports Car Series returns. Check that out, as those guys are going to be back at Red Bull Ring on Saturday night. But for tonight, for Chris Speer, for Full Throttle Sim Racing, for Full Throttle TV, I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.